Located less than half an hour outside downtown Charlotte, North Carolina, resides the track once known as the Beast of the Southeast, where tonight the stars of the Bluegrass iRacing Series look to put on an amazing thriller in the house that Humpy Wheeler built. Hello everyone, and welcome to PitStop TV's live coverage of the fourth round of the season as we get ready for a thrilling 200-lap event live from Charlotte Motor Speedway. As always, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, but unlike usual, things are a bit different here this week as Andrew Cardinale, who you usually see lead these races, has gone out of town, and we've found the key under the mat and have decided to take over for the night. So tonight, I'm Noah Carmichael. Alongside me on the mic is Mr. Joe Donahue, and behind the scenes is where you'll find Jake Paticki, who will be providing these wonderful shots as we get ready to bring you flag-to-flag coverage of what looks to be another amazing night of action from NASCAR's backyard. I also want to give a shout-out to our social media man, Mr. Trey Shuttlesworth, who will be working hard tonight to make sure you guys get the greatest post that you can on our Facebook and Twitter page. Brandon Robertson comes in hot off his first win of the season, now making it 3 in a row of first-time winners, as we have still yet to see a repeat winner. And because of that, the points fight is still neck and neck, as Justin Winters and Travis Miller are only 1 point apart as they continue their fight for the Drivers' Championship, as we are now 2 races away from the halfway point of the season. So, Joe, as the cars prepare to do battle around this fast mile and a half, what do you expect to see out of these drivers who are still trying to throw their name in the hat for the title hunt?
Well, there's certainly plenty of season left for these drivers to get their own first wins of the season. It's a half distance of a real race, so 200 laps on the schedule. Still a long race, so we're definitely going to want to be patient. But at the same time, there's plenty of season left if you want to try to sling some dirt and throw some sliders as they come through this one. So it'll be interesting to see. And like you said, 1 point separating first and second in the championship. That's always going to put some implications on the drivers as they go through this race.
Indeed, it is. Only 4 races into the season. The point standing is still as close as it can be as we wait to see the points come up live on your screen. As we talked about, Joshua Winters comes in here as the points leader. He has 1 win. Only 1 point behind him is Travis Miller in second, who also has a win. And then all the way down in 6th, where you find Brandon Robertson, who won last week in Richmond and had jumped up 7 spots all the way to 6th. In between him is where you find the drivers like Wyatt Brackett, Wes Weejan, Matt Grenier, Brandon Robertson, who we just talked about, who got that win, and then on down the list are drivers like John Kenner, Joshua Abbey, who are all pretty fast drivers who are looking to try and get a win here today to try and make this 4 in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are all racing really hard out here, and some consistency, definitely holding their own with points at the front of the field. But like I said earlier, it's still plenty of racing left to do this season, so there's definitely nobody out for the count quite yet.
And as the field gets set to do qualifying here to make their 2 fast hot laps, let's take a minute here to give you to pay the bills real quick so that way we can get those out of the way so we can get straight into racing here tonight as we get set for this 200-lap thriller. First up, we got the BRP iRacing Series. The BRP iRacing Series is a series run and owned by Northeastern Big Block Modified drivers, crew guys, and fans. If you're looking to get into the dirt racing or already are, this league is for you. BRP is a fixed setup league that runs 360-wing sprint cars and pro late models. The BRP iRacing Series will be adding the big block mods to their series lineup upon the release on the iRacing service. You can find BRP on their Facebook page, the BRP iRacing Series.
We also want to pay our dues to Tucson Sound Art. Your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and Tucson Sound Art will create a beautifully framed, high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit Tucson Sound Art for additional info at their website, tucsonsoundart.com.
Next up, we want to thank Permanent Makeup in Cryo in Maine. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. Here at Permanent Makeup Cryo in Maine, the owner Ashley Boulier, who is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. If you're looking for the best solutions for your PMU concerns, give us a call today to book a consultation. You can contact us at permanentmakeupinmaine.com or call and text us at 207-358-8683. If you visit our Facebook page, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, you will see that we do monthly giveaways. If you submit your entry, who knows, you might just win.
And of course, we have to give a shout out to Whiplash Media, PitStop TV's new parent organization, specializing in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and much more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real world racing, offering services such as photography, social media management, and public relations. Go to www.whiplash-media.com for more information.
And with that out of the way, as you can see now, qualifying still underway right now. Travis Miller, who you see on the screen right now, your current pole sitter. Oh, he just got bumped actually by John Kinder in the 21. So the 21 now goes to the top of the charts with a 28.801 to Miller's 28.837. So the times are starting to pick up here as we are still seeing more and more cars. We have now 18 drivers out of, I believe, about 25 to 26 drivers here today who are looking to make their start and get a time in. So it's going to be really interesting to see what we can see out of these drivers. Drivers like I talked about at the beginning, Joshua Abbey, who is one of the fastest in practice. We're trying to see where he is actually lined out. I'm not sure. No, he has not set a time yet, so that's the guy you want to watch out for because he ended up as one of the fastest in practice, and he can definitely turn a lap that can beat these drivers' times if need be.
Yeah, certainly. It's always hard to get 2 really perfect laps in when you're out for qualifying. Kinder definitely has some, or John Kinder, sorry, has some home field advantage being a Carolina boy, but it will be interesting as you see. There's still plenty of time left, so those guys who haven't quite pulled their laps in yet definitely have time to get out there and get a nice one in.
Something I also want to point out, Chris LeBourgeois in the number 83 car, he actually just put in chat telling the admins to start him in the back. He says that he is currently with the hurricane weather coming in. The signal is bad, so you got to give a shout out to him. I believe he's definitely within the Houston metro area, or right directly in the path of that Category 4 hurricane that's about to rock the Texas coastline yet again, which is always a sad thing to hear. But we give a shout out to him and our best wishes as he gets ready to bat this hurricane. Hopefully we get to see more of him out of this. So currently he is in about the 11th position with a 28.991, but expect him to fall to the back as soon as this race starts, as we see more and more cars still putting on the times. But right now John Kinder is the only driver who is seeming to have a shot at the pole right now, as he's actually left the server right now, so that's actually interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely not what we want to see, and hopefully he gets back online quickly. But on top of what you said earlier, we just want to give our condolences and hope that everybody stays safe as the hurricane moves through. We definitely don't want to see anything bad come of that in our world, the real world out there. But as for this one that we're inside of here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, yeah, John Kinder holding on as slowly but surely the final cars come out for the qualifying runs.
Yeah, obviously that hurricane is definitely something that's going to rock you, especially I believe it's actually going to affect the real world racing too, because even though the hurricane will have died down to about a really bad thunderstorm, if I'm correct, it's actually on path to go through the St. Louis area, which is where IndyCar is going to be this weekend for their Gateway doubleheader weekend. So it's going to be very interesting to see if that does in fact affect it. I know that I believe it was IndyCar weatherman on Twitter, whoever it was, it might have been the transporter guy. They've been making tweets about it and saying, hey, watch out for this thing. So maybe we'll see some pretty bad thunderstorms. I actually work as a flagger in real life for a construction company. A lot of the people that we work with have actually already started heading up to the Houston area to go and help with the relief efforts once that hits. So a lot of the people that are actually down here, and this is down in the Florida area near St. Pete, they've taken off to the Houston area already trying to get set up for this so that would help whatever they can. So it's going to be very interesting to see how much this affects it, especially with the IndyCar weekend coming up.
Yeah, and fortunately for me, I have the pleasure and good fortune of having the opportunity to go to that weekend. So hopefully it doesn't get too bad up there. I'd still love to see a race. It's about 2.5 hours for me to drive there from where I am currently, but really don't want to see anything too terrible come of the hurricane for anybody around the country.
And while we were talking about that, we talked about John Kinder's 28.801. He has gotten bumped by Nathan Moorer and the 971 with a 28.780. So now we have another driver at the top of the charts, about, I would say, 1/100th of a second off. So the pole time is starting to drop more and more and more as we have still Joshua Abbey, who has not set laps. So that's going to be very interesting to see if he does in fact set one.
Yeah, he might be holding off. He is actually another one of the Texas boys. He is maybe he's doing the same thing. Maybe he wants to start at the back just for the safety of what could happen, sparing he loses connection or something. I'm not 100% sure what part of Texas he's from, but it could be a factor. It is an interesting thing that a real world experience like a hurricane could have an influence on a race like this, though.
Yeah, so as you see now, the 24 drivers, I believe, will set a time. They have, if in fact Joshua Abbey does in fact want to set a lap, he has about a minute left to get out there. That should be enough to do an out lap and do his flyers, at least get one in, but I don't think that's going to happen. So what you see now is what's going to be your starting lineup for bid, and Joshua does go out and try to set a time. So you see the 26 car lineup, barring the two drivers not sitting in the lineup. So we have a total of 26 drivers getting ready to do this 300-mile race here in NASCAR's backyard. And that's something that we also pointed out in the intro. This is NASCAR's home track. It's kind of like their home away from home. They were founded in Daytona Beach, Florida, but they're based out of here. Hendrick Motorsports is about a block away outside the front stretch. And all the teams are based here. The Hall of Fame is based here. All the NASCAR teams. Haas, I think, is the people who make a lot of the parts. Everybody who has a hand in NASCAR is in the Charlotte area. Drivers, teams, team owners, shops, everything is here. So it's good. There's a lot of pride on the line to try and win at a track like this, along with like places like Michigan, where the Ford and Chevy rivalry goes on. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how much these drivers are gonna try and win this race. Because while they're a Kentucky league, everybody wants a shot to win in Charlotte.
Absolutely, this is the proving grounds for the sport, and such a rich history at this course, going back all the way through NASCAR's history, and then obviously here on iRacing, these drivers want to perform very well. They want to perform every weekend, but definitely there's something special about going to Charlotte. As the clock's going to wind down here, I don't think we're going to get any other times in, so your field has been set for tonight's race.
And with that being done, as the field will now get set to line up here for this race, let's go through the starting lineup real quick as the field gets ready to roll off. As we talked about, starting on pole is where you're going to find Nathan Murrer and the 9. I'm going to try and pronounce that name better. He's going to start on pole at the number 971 with a 28.780. Lining up on his outside, where you're going to find Wyatt Bracken, a number 33 car. Lining up in row number 2 is where you're going to find John Kinder, the number 21 car. Lining up in his outside of the 22, Travis Miller. So you got the 21 and the 22, both in the row number 2. Justin Winters finds himself starting back there in the 5th position in number 88. Alongside him as well, you'll find Scott Fritz. Starting back in the 7th position is where you'll find Nicholas Noggle in the 08 car. He's going to line up alongside Matt Grenier in the number 15, and then rounding out your top 10 is going to be the number 28 of Adam Lancaster and the number 6 of Tyler Johnson.
Starting off on row number 6, you're going to see Jack Bauer and Daniel Worthington definitely not out of the hunt for the race, even though they start to go towards the midfield for this one. 7th row on the grid, Tanner Webb starting 13th on the inside, and to his outside, Chris I'm going to mess it up, Le Bourgeois. There we go, I got it. Starting 15th for your field tonight, Corby Daniels, and to his outside in 16th position is going to be Mitch Smith. 17th is Wes Wiegand, and he is going to be starting on the inside of David Brackett in 18th position. 19th position for Dylan Davidson, and on the outside of this one is Adam Broyles starting in 20th.
Starting back in the 21st position is where you're going to find Brian Terry. He's set at 29.229 in the number 13 car. Lining up and outside of him is going to be Josh Miller in number 27. Starting back in the 23rd position is where you'll find Ed Osborne and Josh McKinney. And then lining up on the last row are the two drivers who did not set a time, Joshua Abbey and Jason Collins. But also, like we got to point out, while it shows Chris LeBougier, gonna try and get that right. It's hard to get that right. I asked the admins and I'm still forgetting. He's starting up there at the top 15, but expect him. He will fall to the back if the admins do so. Let him do that. He was talking about in the practice session because of what we went on about. So expect him to fall to the back here. So move up a lot of the drivers behind him up a position, or at least up a row, depending which row he is in. But now you see the field going to start to double up here as we get ready for through 200 laps around this 1.5 mile speedway that has provided some amazing racing from time to time.
Yes, indeed, and they're going to want to be making moves at the start if they're at the back end of the field, but certainly we have to remember to stay patient. We don't want any early race cautions that are taking our drivers out of contention for the win and for good points in this race today.
Absolutely, as you see, doubling up now. One he will start on pole with the outside of him, Wyatt Brackett, and then behind him is John Kinder and Travis Miller. So a lot of the people that are fighting for championships at 22, I believe, he won back at Daytona. So he has a lot to gain out of this. He came out with, I believe it was the last lap pass to get the win after being in third or fourth and watching the wreck happen. So expect him to maybe pull up some stuff. But also be aware that for maybe a fourth winner this season. Now the pace car pulls off. The field now doubled up, packed nice and neat as we head into the restart zone, waiting on the green flag. Barney's going to wave his arm to death. Green flag is in the air. We are underway at Charlotte as Nathan comes off with about a car length lead as he jumps to 33 to 21 of John Kinder right behind him. He's going to fall in line, take about over the second position to 22 of Travis Miller. He's going to jump to the inside, and now Wyatt Brackett is finding himself falling way back in the field. Started second. Now he finds himself at fourth. The 22 gets loose off of turn number 2 as they head back down to turn number 3.
Into turn number 3, they look like they single file out. Motor still leading the way. The 22 car here coming out of the corner in third place, and it looks like we're going to get to the line safely. No caution on lap 1, thank goodness.
John Kinder now, your new race leader, as he sends it back off into turn number 1. Travis Miller now has jumped up to the second position. The 971 finds himself falling back as well. So the people who started on the front row quickly falling behind. But now if Wyatt Brackett has anything to say about it, he's putting up a fight again, getting up to the back bumper of Miller as they exit off of turn number 4. The 971 really struggling to stay out of car up in the wall. They're going to keep it safe, keep it straight, and we're going to keep rolling. But a lot of drivers, you can already see now, this outside line is not going to work. And Travis Miller now sets the fastest lap of the race as he tries to charge up to the front. But what we're seeing, this is a bottom line racetrack. Any driver that's being stuck up on the top is like a super speedway. If you're stuck on the high side and you have nobody with you, you're going to start falling back quickly. And that's exactly what we're seeing happen to a lot of these drivers right now. They single file themselves out.
Yeah, and we saw Wyatt Brackett almost get squirrely up and into the wall the first time he came through the corner. He got through turn 4 a little bit better that time, but the 22 car still all over the back end of John Kinder, still bumping, eating and banging here into turn number 1 and out of turn number 2. They're side by side down to turn 3.
Yes, Scott Fritz, you can't see it there because the paint scheme isn't loaded, but he's running the University of Northern Ohio again. He was really dominant when I first came here for Daytona and commentated that race. He was a dominant factor throughout most of the race. He got separated because of a wreck that happened during the pit stop sequence, so he is looking to get himself a win. He's looking to try and rebound after a rough start after losing it at Daytona. Last time, he actually gave Wyatt Brackett a shot going into turn number 1, so you might see some damage on the back of that 33 car, but he's getting really aggressive now. He's running up in 4th. He's had a pretty good start after starting back in 6th as he starts to run down the leaders, but still it's John Kinder and Travis Miller out there running 1-2. As here comes Miller looking to the bottom side. He's going to go side by side. He's going to rocket past him for the race lead as he get ready to set up into turn number 1.
Miller does get it through, and it looks like he's still, John Kinder's still holding his own on the outside, and he's very strong, and he's going to have the momentum off the top side. He's going to take single, they're going to stay double file down this back stretch and into turn number 3. They are still side by side. This is a good race for here to lead, and Miller's going to finally pull ahead, and they're going to go single file once again. Brackett almost got up into the back end of Kinder there.
That looked like an accordion effect because you saw about 2nd through 6th back there going straight to the wall. I'm surprised nobody wrecked back there. But he's talked about Miller and Kinder had a really good race going on there. But again, you're seeing that outside line just not being able to work unless you have a car that can really have the setup there to run into, which I believe this is a fixed setup, so it's not even possible to have your own. But if you can find it, use it. He's again the 100 gives that 33 a shot going into turn 3 and 4. There's a big stack up right behind them, and there's a dogfight going back there for one of those top 5 positions. But again, Travis Miller running away with the race lead, Wyatt Brackett and John Kinder, as now we're starting to see a lot of the drivers show their cards and say, hey, I can do this or I can do that. Obviously, Miller hustling that bottom line and running away with the race lead is up and about, I'd say, a 3 to 4 car length gap. Meanwhile, Brackett's still trying to fend off Kinder and take over the 2nd place spot, as Fritz is trying to fend off the herd right behind him to hold on to his 4th place spot. So this top 10 is really getting dicey here early in the going, as we're not even at lap 10.
Yes, indeed, And Travis Miller, don't forget, he's second in the points, only 1 point behind Justin Winters, who is not up in this front group at all right here. Well, obviously he's not up in the front at all here, but Travis Miller from Canada definitely trying to build a little bit of a gap here. Wants to run smooth here, and guys, don't forget, we're still only on starting lap 10 here soon, so we definitely do not want to get too racy.
And we do have a caution coming out. We're trying to figure out who it is. I believe it might have been the 43 car of Josh McKinney. I'm going to try to confirm that because I'm not sure what the caution was for, but we're going to try and figure that out here as we get ready to see the replay. We're right now under caution number 1 here at lap number 10 so far.
So yellow flag, everybody's going to take it easy a little bit. As it looked like, did he just disconnect again from the pit lane there?
I'm not sure. I don't know what the caution was for. I'm going to try and figure it out as best as I can with what we got. It's a very interesting thing. So, here it is. It was the number 38 of David Brackett. So if you look back there with the 38 car, watch him off of turn number 4 at the end of lap number 8. You're going to wait for him to get the replay up here on your screen so you can see this. Just being a little patient here as we try to get this done. But what happens is he does come off of turn number 4. He's going to go side by side with the number 05 of Joshua Abbey. So Abbey trying to make his way up to the field. The 38 actually gets tight in the third part of the dog leg, or the tri-oval coming into turn number 1, slaps the outside retaining wall and then loses control and just rockets into the side of the 05, and they go spinning down towards turn number 1 at both of them, clobbering that inside wall. Not too badly damaged, should be able to get that repaired. Nothing race ending, but not the start that a lot of these guys want, especially Abbey, who's one of the faster drivers in practice, now finding himself early into the race having to take a pit stop and get that damage repaired.
Yeah, and Abbey running P8 in the championship coming into this event, a pretty solid position in the standings with no wins, I would say. So that's definitely going to hinder his performance for the night. You definitely didn't want to see that, but only on lap 11. So for the guys up front who are still there, it's like, what do you do about strategy now? Do you want to stay out? Do you want to try to see if you can save some fuel, or do you want to put some fuel in it? Like, where are we going at here now?
Well, that's the weird thing. This is kind of like a feeling out process to see how this is going to go. So now they know what to expect and what they can do. All they've really been able to do is an 11 laps, so that's a short run. So now they know what their short stint strategy, but it's going to be very interesting if we get a green flag stint, how that's going to affect and how these drivers are going to go. So it's going to... So I believe what a lot of drivers are just going to do right now is they're going to try and stay out and see how this car handles longer in the run with the tire wear. You saw the 971 of Nathan. He thought about pinning, and then he decided against it, realizing he was going to go fall straight to the back, which is not what you want to do. So again, what I believe this is just a feeling out process, knowing how the setup reacts, knowing how these drivers are going to drive, and then knowing what you can do if we do in fact get to that long run stage.
Yeah, so certainly you saw a mower try to fake down the pit lane, one of our Pennsylvania drivers out there, and he came back out on track. So definitely proving that these drivers are going to just take it easy here, try to maybe conserve some fuel, try to be easy on their tires, taking these laps, just get the laps ticked off of the counter, try to get closer to the finish of this race, and then maybe we'll see how racy they get as the stint runs out and how good they are on the long run.
Absolutely. So again, while we're here under caution here, I believe we might be around the 2 to go mark. What you see running through the field right now, your top 10 is as it stands. Travis Milner, the number 22, he started back there in 4th and rocketed his way to the front, lining up on his outside on this restart. Is giving the guy who started 2nd. He fell back on the initial start and clawed his way back up, and now he finds himself back in a 2nd. That is the number 33 of White Bracket. In 3rd place is going to be that 100 car of Scott Fritz and the UNOH car. I got a couple friends who are alumni from there, so it's always cool to see that car on the track. He started 6th. He's gained up half of where he started, up to the 3rd spot. Again, another driver who clawed halfway up from where he started. That is going to be the number 15 of Matt Grenier. He has made his way from 8th all the way up to 4th. And then running back there in 5th is that 971 of Nathan Mower. I'm going to try and get that right, or hopefully get that right. He started in the pole position. He fell back to 5th. Lining up in 6th is going to be the 6th of Tyler Johnson. He started in the 10th position and has moved his way up to 6th. Nicholas Noggle is going to be starting in the 7th position. He has actually stayed pretty neutral. He started 7th. He is 7th. In the 8th position is going to be Tanner Webb in the number 17. He started in 13th, now moving his way up to 8th. 9th is where you're going to find Jack Bauer. He started in 11th, so he's gained 2 spots since the start. And then lining up in the 10th position is going to be 16 of Corby Daniels, who started 15. He's moved up 5 spots, and now he finds himself the last car in the top 10 as we get set, hopefully, to get the one to go this time by.
Yeah, so certainly we want to get this race back underway. Everybody's ready to go. They're starting to already double file up down the backstretch. You can tell the drivers are kind of getting ready, like, hey, let's go back to racing. I'm here to race. But they definitely got to be patient here as hopefully get the one to go, like Noah said, to get this race back underway.
Absolutely, it's very boring when it becomes an eye-pacing event. The pace car ends up being the person who leads the most laps. So right now on lap number 13, we're going to have to wait and see this time if we do in fact get the one to go. You see more and more of the field starting to double up here as they get more and more patient. I want to give a quick shout out to the person, I believe that is, Tyler Johnston we talked about. He is in the number 6 car. He's actually kind of running a throwback scheme that I really like of that Mark Martin of the Valvoline car from around the early 90s and late 90s. So it's really interesting seeing how that is. Other than that, like I've always said, I like the 100 car. I like the 15 car. That snap-on car is really cool to see if we do get the one to go this time. And then obviously the 22 car. You gotta love seeing these like kind of Ryan Blaney paint schemes on a 22 car. So that's always nice to see.
Yeah, definitely so. So Travis Miller and Wyatt Brackett, they're going to line up on the first row, and the pace car's lights are out. So that does mean we're going to get to go green flag racing again once they come around to the start-finish line, Noah. So lap 15 will be underway with the green flag, and we'll get to see what happens when all the drivers get back on the restart, and hopefully nothing crazy happens.
Absolutely. So now as they go double up here on the backstretch, as you see, we do want to point out we have a 2 hour and 5 minute limit here for this race. So these guys have to be very careful. The race with no yellows would be around an hour and a half. So they have about an hour to play with, or another hour and a half to play with. No, they do have an hour. My bad. They do have an hour to play with. So they got to get this stuff done, or else this is going to be becoming an endurance race other than or a lap race, kind of like how Petit does it, where it's a certain amount of laps if they don't reach the time limit. So now as you see, the field doubling up again. Travis Miller, he has a win already this season. He's going to lead the field to the green as the pace car dives on the pit road. As he enter the restart zone, green flag is in the air. All eyes are on him. He's going to get the jump. Scott Fritz is not going to be sleeping. He's going to take it along with him as Brackett again gets caught sleeping on the start. As the 15 trying to see if he can peek to the outside. Nobody's going to fall in line. As now the 100 car is going to move himself now up to second as they enter into turn number 1.
Bauer got a nice start on the inside as well. Like you said earlier, the inside line's the way to go. Travis Miller leading down the back stretch with Scott Fritz from Ohio right behind him. The UNOH car following the number 22 through 3 and 4. They look to go single file here. And like you said, Wyatt Brackett looks like he's just continuing to fall backwards. He's stuck on the outside line, and everybody's just going to take the advantage of the inside and get past it.
Yeah, and he actually got into the wall heading into turn number 1, so that's really not good to see. What we're really seeing happening with Wyatt is he's not the best at restarts, but he is really getting good at crawling his way back. Up in these short runs, he can move his way up. He fell back to about the 6th spot on the first time round, and he's falling again back to around the 5th, 6th, or 7th spot. As, oh, we got a car on the wall. That's going to cause the 6th to get loose as well as they keep it going. No caution just yet. The 6th car, an amazing save by him. Wyatt's going to get a free position out of that to move him back up to the 6th spot. But that 08 car of Nicholas Noggle that we were talking about hit the wall coming off of turn number 4 and almost took the 6th with him. And that would have caused the 33 car to go around.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of guys at these restarts when they first get through turn 4 for the first 2-3 times. They're a little loose out there. They're just getting their tires back underneath them, starting to get control of their cars again from the anticipation and adrenaline that comes with a restart. And it almost caught him out this time, but he got fortunate, and the driver is going to continue on.
Absolutely. So right now, Travis Miller, we talked about, he currently runs with the race lead. I believe that the Ohio native in the 100 car. He's now, oh, is that the 971 who's actually taking over second place? Let me see. Yes, it is in the 971. He started on pole, and now he finds himself running back up into the second position. So he's actually taken over with the number 100 of Scott Fritz, and now the 15 of Matt Grenier looking to the inside, not able to do anything just yet, as they're going to stay as they are as they run off of turn number 2. The half-second lead goes to Travis Miller. He is starting to pull away from these drivers, and it is now becoming more possible that we could, in fact, see a repeat winner here this season, as he won it back in Daytona, and now he may be looking to win it again here in Charlotte, as he's just running away from the field right now early on in the going.
Yeah, Travis Miller, like you said, he's one of the 3 drivers who's got to win, and we've yet to see a repeat winner, but if the race was going to end this time by, it would be all Travis Miller coming to the line. Maurer still holding on pretty nicely in second. He's losing maybe a little bit of time, but like we said, there's only 20 laps into a 200-lap race. We're only a tenth of the way through it, so there's definitely plenty of time to see strategies or even other cautions, other things that could affect Travis Miller's race. Hopefully everything stays smooth for him, that we get a good race, but anything can happen with 179 laps remaining in the race.
Something to keep in mind too, Matt Grenier has now taken over the 3rd spot from Scott Fritz. So Scott Fritz, who we talked about, who moved his way all the way up into about the 3rd spot, he's now falling back to the 4th. So he's starting to slide in the opposite direction. Nicholas Noggle in the 08 car, who did hit the wall. The 100 car gets really high off of turn number 4. That's going to stack up the field behind him. And now here comes the 08 all over the back bumper. The 33 of Brackett looking to the outside. He's going to try to take that position over. Here comes the 6 now making a move to the inside, as they are really going after positions now as they head up into turn number 1. And that's what can happen here. If one driver makes a mistake, that can stack up the whole field, and then you see what we have going on right now. A huge stack, about 4 or 5 cars, and every single one of them with that track position. So they're going to try and do whatever they can. The 48 car of Jack Bauer, he's up there too, as the 6 car almost makes contact with the 08 car. They're all over each other, as this huge stack up is causing a really big melee going on back here, as they're trying to take whatever positions they can get their hands on.
Yeah, Fritz definitely brought the whole field together a little bit. It looked like he might have even touched the wall just the slightest bit going into turn number 1. He might have been fine there, but he stacked them up for sure when they came into the corner, and they slowly now have regained a single file formation, and it's gotten a little bit more calm, but definitely the 6 car all over the 08, continuing to do so. 33 in line as well. They're still running hard.
Something also to keep in mind right now is that number 971 of Nathan Maurer. He started on pole. He's actually closed the lead about a tenth in the last 3 laps. He's now down to about a .509, so basically half a second. So he is starting to reel him in. So he might not have a short run car, but if you give him laps, he can make his way up there, and that's exactly what he's doing. As he is starting to run down the 22 car lap by lap, we're going to have to see what it updates to as they come across the line this time by. But right now, it's stayed pretty stagnant so far. Those 2 are running away from the leaders. Indeed he does, now down to a .486 that time by, and these guys are just gapping the field. The closest car to them behind is Matt Grenier, the 15. He is 1.7 seconds back. So right now it is a 2-car fight as the 22 and the 971 begin to pull away from the leaders and create their own little fight here for the lead, one of which is someone who could keep the streak going of first-time winners in the series. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these guys handle, as again the gap is closing further and further and further. That 971 is really starting to reel him in.
Yeah, and you look back here at the fight for 4th position. Fritz is getting a little fritzy down on the inside of the 08 car Noggle, and they're going side. Oh, he's going to go hit into the outside wall, and maybe a little bit of contact on his way back down. They're getting really racy back here. There's about 7 cars who are running for this position, including Worthington's going to be down the inside of Noggle here in turn number 3 now, as he's falling back from that little bit of contact and that momentum he lost.
Yeah, and that 08 car with the damage that he takes on the right side is really going to affect his handling. You're going to see the after where he's gone. Yeah, he's dropped from 4th to 8th after that wall hit. I'm surprised it didn't cause a caution after watching that. That was impressive that he was able to hold on to it. The 113 really slow going into the corner. They almost make contact. There is the exit off of turn number 2. But the 08 refusing to give up as he now retakes over the 113 to take over the 8th spot. As the 3-car fight you see going on between the 100, the 48, and the 33 continues onwards for a top 5 spot. Meanwhile, it's still a single file up ahead. As here comes a 100 car getting wide again on a turn number 4, and now it's going to allow the 48 car to take the dive down to the inside, move him up into the 5th spot, and then he's going to try and chase down the 6th. Meanwhile, the fight for the lead still raging on. The gap is now at .372. So again, more and more as the laps wind on, that 971 car is starting to get bigger and bigger in the mirror of that 22 car.
And you got to watch Scott Fritz here. You wonder, is he out of rhythm or is he have damage from all of the mistakes that he's made up to this point? The 113 sliding up, washed up a little bit in front of Noggle there on your screen. But you know who benefited a lot out of that whole situation that just happened was that number 6, the beautiful Mark Martin throwback car. Johnson got up to P4, and he's gapped these guys just a little bit, so he's definitely going to be a little bit back behind the wheel of his car now. Sitting in fourth place, and you see the gap 2 to 48 car behind him. Definitely what he wants to see in his rearview mirror.
Absolutely, and I do want to give an update. We talked about during qualifying of Chris Labougie, I think it is. We haven't said his name too much. Oh, he almost makes contact as we're starting to see some early pit stops taking shape here. The 83 car we're talking about, he started at 14th, but he fell to the back voluntarily because of the hurricane situation that's going on down in Texas. So right now, he's fell all the way back to 26. He's currently riding in a top 20 spot up in the 20th here as we enter the green flag pit stops. Right now, he's still holding on right now, so I just wanted to give a quick shout out to him. He's still holding on pretty well. Internet's still doing just fine as he's trying to slowly make his way up to the field as he tries to close down the gap to the 13 of Brian Terry as he exits off of turn number 4. What he's talking about now, the green flag pit stop starting to take shape. The 16 of Corby Daniels, one of the drivers who came in. Dylan Davidson, also the 73 car who came in. The next car behind them is Adam Royals in the 23 car. That Air Jordan machine has got loose off of turn number 4. He is actually a lap down, but he did. I believe he did make a pit stop, and now you're starting to see more and more cars. As hopefully we get the trading paints refreshed here, so you can see these amazing paint schemes being run on track. As the fight for the race lead still raging on to the 971 has now all over the back bumper. He is within the toe, and expect a move to be made here in the next few laps to see if we might be able to get something going on here. As now the fight for the race lead is starting to fire up.
And we start to wonder, are these... Oh, it looks like the 22 car is going to come into pit lane, so he will relinquish the lead to Maurer, and Maurer is going to be able to take it. But would you want to be the car that comes in first, or would you want to be the car that comes in second? Because Travis Miller has just relinquished the lead to the main competitor he's got in this race to come in before him. So is that the right move for his strategy, or would you want to stay out for that extra lap?
But that really depends now, because now we see the 22, he now has pitted, so now the 971 knows what he needs to do, because the 22 might try to pull the undercut. He's going to come in a lap later, but now he knows, okay, he's pitting now, so I can put in a really good in lap to try and close this gap down as much as I can and maybe beat him in the pits. The 100 car is Scott Fritz, another driver who's down pit road. The 22 car now off and away as the 971 still making his drive down pit road. So the 22 already up to the gears now as he's down to the apron. He's fallen all the way back to 16th. And with this, now we talked about, do you want to be the first of the leaders to come in? Well, now it's also a question of, do you want to come into the pits early at all? Because if a caution comes out, this really ruins the momentum that all these guys have, and this could stick them all the way back. Matt Grenier, your current race leader, he is now coming down to the pits. That should hand over the lead to Jack Bauer. He started 11th. He is now still in the pit, but he's currently in the race lead. He's been running these Jimmy Johnson paint schemes for a while, and he's obviously wanted to stay with the theme that they have going on here. So if you talk to, as a lot of you may know, Jimmy kind of believes now that running a white car is just good luck, because he hasn't done that well in black cars, even though he won a pretty good amount of races in a Cobalt car, if I do remember. But that's besides the point. He's coming back here with this stylish white Ally car. Now he's going to make his way down a pit road. That should hand over the lead to Daniel Worthington. Nope, he's going to make his way down pit road too. So more and more the leaders are starting to pit. As John Kinder, he's now going to boost himself with the race lead as more drivers start to pit as we get ready to head to the quarter-way mark of this race.
Yeah, and so John Kinder will cycle into the lead temporarily as he just got past. No, he didn't. He's still in the lead, but John Kinder fell back off the start and finally back up again. We get to talk about him. So maybe we'll see these guys come into pit lane soon. And is this going to be an in-lap? No, sirree, not this time. Maybe they came in. Did they come in with that earlier race caution at all, maybe? If these guys were at the back end of the field?
Well, then that brings up the question, because I don't believe not a lot of drivers pitted. The only people who did were the drivers who were involved in those wrecks. Other than that, most people stayed out. As you're seeing Wes Wiegand in the 88 car, the 188 car, I might add, he's getting his doors blown off by the 22 and the 971 who are taking their laps back. Right now, your leader still just the winners in the 88 car. One of the people who are in a fight for the championship, John Kinder, as well. So those two are fighting hard for the lead, but fighting hard for what will be the lead once this pit cycle is through. is a 22 and a 971 as they try to get around these lapped cars ahead of them. I believe that might be, and I'm trying to figure out who that is. There's more lapped cars all over the field, and it's really kind of jumbled up the lineup as now you see him blowing by the 88 cars. He's trying to create a gap to the 971 as they head into turn number 3. But right now, just a lot of fighting going on the racetrack for trying to lead a lap and then just trying to take over the lead when the pit cycle's through.
Yeah, Travis Miller and Nate were just going through their pretty standard, pretty easy going, trying to get through it together. The 971 was on the tail end of the number 22 car as they started fighting through, but you saw through turn 2 that last time they started getting a little bit gapped. There was a little bit of movement going on. So the jostling for position, these drivers definitely need to be careful getting through these lap traffic cars. They definitely have fresher tires, and that's going to be a huge improvement on their lap times from these guys, so they're just going to blow past them, so you got to be careful. You don't want to get caught up with all these cars going slower than you.
Yeah, one of the drivers you are seeing trying to get his lap back, he's currently in a lucky dog spot, is at 6 of Tyler Johnson, going to blow by Justin Winters, take his lap back now, as a lot of the drivers that you're seeing who have pitted, they're really fast, so you're seeing the tire difference on old tires versus new tires, because they're actually having to check up to avoid hitting them, which just tells you how much the fall off is here at Charlotte. It's kind of an abrasive track. I remember back in 2005, they had the new service, the same deal IMS had with the Diamond Cut service, ended up tearing the tires apart just like the Michelins did for the F1 race. So what happened after that? Well, because of all the tire blowouts, what did Humpy do? He tore apart the track the next day and repaved it in time for the fall race for the Cup Series. So it just tells you how aggressive these tires can get and how worn out and quickly they tear away. As we're seeing these lap times start to pull up slower and slower for the drivers who have not pitted. I'm surprised they're staying out as long as they have been.
Yeah, I'm very surprised to see this. So, we wouldn't want to expect that. You slow down as you continue to run, and certainly you want a long run car for situations like this where we get a good green flag run. But at the same time, like you said, tire degradation is a huge factor in the speed of these cars as they contest this race. So for the drivers who are staying out right now, what is the strategy? Is it to just try to maximize the amount of time that you can save by maybe missing a pit stop or something like that? Or maybe trying to, cut out a pit stop completely from your race? Certainly, I think the yellows are going to help the drivers who are going to try to take that opportunity. But for the guys who aren't, it's all about going bad fast, and they're going to try to do so and carve their way back through the field and get up to the front. It'll be interesting to see if that's going to turn around and benefit the drivers who came into pit lane, like Travis Miller, who was leading the way of the guys who did so. It'll be interesting to see how that fans out within the next 5 to 10 laps.
Yeah, well, I think what this is, what the 88 car is trying to do, this is what you would call a Hail Mary move. He's been running kind of back there on the top 5, top 10 position. So what he's doing now is trying to lead these laps and maybe hoping for a caution, because if he does, he's going to stick a lot of the field a lap down. And if that happens, that's really going to throw a lot of wrenches into this. I've done that kind of stuff before in league races, where if I'm running back there in the 20th position out on short tracks, you stay out as long as you can and hope that a wreck happens up here, because that does, then congratulations, you stuck half the field a lap down and now you're the race leader, and that has worked out in some ways. So that's kind of what I'm thinking he might be trying to pull, is that he's either has some sort of fuel strategy going on in his head, or he's just trying to pull a Hail Mary and hope that a caution comes out here in the next few laps that'll really help him out here in this race. But right now the strategy is really starting to come into effect as David Bracken, the 38 car, he's moved his way now up into the second after starting 18th. Wes Wiegand, another driver, still, he started 17th, now up in third. As now here comes the 88 down the pit road. Now we're going to have to see what happens with the 38. He's now coming down the pit road as well. Wes Wiegand is actually already in pit road, so that's going to hand the lead to John. Actually, no, John Kinner's in pit road, so that's going to hand it back. It's going to cycle all the way around and now give that back to Travis Miller, as he's going to take the race lead once all this cycles through the next time by. So all the drivers who needed the pit have now pitted, and now the race again is going to be between that 22 car and the 971 car. So the fight is back on and better than it's ever been all race.
Yeah, so you definitely see the amount of time that these two made up on the laps that they had the fresh tires and everybody else didn't, as they passed all of the people who were continuing to lead at that point in time. Last time we came past the start-finish line, they passed them all while they were coming into their pit boxes. So you see the major benefit that has turned out for Travis Miller and Nate Maurer coming into the pits early. And certainly, like Noah said, the Hail Mary effort is what you got to do when you're at the back end of the field. You're just trying to make up time and make up positions by keeping people a lap down. But in this case, the green flag run stood. The drivers who came in early are going to get the benefit of the situation that has occurred here on lap 47 now. And Travis Miller and Nick Maurer still in a fight for the lead. But as you see, there's a couple car lengths of gap between them. Maybe we'll just see a little bit of cycling and lap running between these two drivers. Maybe Maurer, like we said before, he seems to have a really good long run car. So maybe he'll reel back into Travis Miller. And he kind of looks like he might be already doing so out of turn number 2 this time. See the long run on the 971 car, see if he can get back up in front of Miller before we maybe either see a yellow or another green flag pit stop sign.
And we talked about kind of these drivers who are trying to pull that long strategy, a rabbit out of the hat kind of move. And now we're going to start to see kind of the penalties that you get for doing something like that. John Kender is one of those drivers. He is in the 21 car. He started 3rd. Now he is the last car on the lead lap. He's the 20. He's all the way back in 17th. He's a little ahead of the 22 car. So right now, he was a driver running around for a top 5 spot. Now he's running around hoping for a caution that he doesn't have to rely on a lucky dog spot. So he's trying to run his laps down and create a gap to these two. As we talk about a gap, the gap has closed now. Here's the 971. He's taking a peek on the inside now down the front straightaway as he goes side by side into turn number 1. Will he clear him? Easily. So now Nathan Maurer, who has kind of creeped his way up through the field, now he has taken the lead. And now the fight that we've been waiting to see for the last 50 laps is starting to take shape. As here comes the 22 car with a run of his own. He's going to stick in behind, not try and risk anything early on in this front, and now they're going to go nose to tail down the front straightaway and maybe expect a peak out of this 22 car if he can get the run heading into turn number 1. But now the fight that we've been waiting to see all race is taking shape.
Yeah, that 971 car, he came in 1 lap later than Travis Miller as we're on board, and now through turn 1 and 2, we've got a car coming up behind the two of them with a little bit of speed, who pitted later than them, but Maurer leading the way still, and down the inside, the number 28 car comes through. He's going to unlap himself here from Maurer, or maybe almost he's going to unlap himself here as Maurer takes past that time. But is Travis Miller going to benefit from this? Because the 971 stuck on the outside, and he's not. He looks like he comes up to, now he cuts down to the inside. So he took a wide entry to that corner, the 971 and the 22. Now they got a little bit of drafting help. Travis Miller's tires are 1 lap older, and he hasn't been able to put a solid run on the 971 to get back in front of him. Maybe he's going to run there for a little bit and just kind of try to conserve his car a little bit here.
Yeah, maybe he's playing a long run strategy, trying to stick in behind them, maybe kind of make a fuel thing, or maybe it's just how bad the dirty air is at a track like this. Because while you're going so fast, it makes it that much harder to try and make a move anywhere. Because as we talked about, this is a low line racetrack. So if you can protect the bottom, then you're pretty much good. Because we haven't really seen the top line be really well in use that much unless you're one of the drivers who have just pitted and are just blowing by the leaders, but even then they're going to try and take that bottom line. So this is a bottom groove racetrack. So what the 971 is basically just going to have to do is make sure that 22 doesn't have any chance of a run to make it on the inside, because if he does, then he's going to have to fall back in line and try and take over the race lead. This is kind of like an Indy 500 kind of deal, what we see out of the 500 for the Indy cars, where they'll run single file and you don't make that run on the outside unless it's a restart. But even then with these double file restarts, it's really hard to, because of how tight packed you are heading into these corners. So still, it's just kind of like a one groove racetrack. If the top side is just not factored in this entire race so far, as we're past the quarter way mark, heading on to lap 55 this time by, is now the 971 going to start to open up a gap of his own to the 22 as they head off into 1.
Yeah, and as they continue to use the bottom side throughout the course of the race and not the top side, it's just going to exponentially increase the abilities of the inside versus the outside as they continue to rubber it in and keep it nice and warm and smooth with all the rubber laid down on the inside and the marbles moving up the top of the track. 22 still staying behind the 971 of Maurer. So Maurer continuing to lead out of turn number 4 and on to lap 56 we will go. A little bit past the quarterway of this race. These two drivers have
And we are actually under caution. I know you might not be able to tell, we are under caution this time by. So we'll take a moment and see if we can find out what happened. If they did do the lucky dogs, then we'll give the lucky dog to Chris Labouchier. So that's actually really good news for him as we try and figure out what in fact did cause this yellow this time by. So just give us a moment and we'll try and figure that out. Still trying to figure it out. I believe it might have been the 28 car. It's kind of hard to tell. So we're going to try and figure this out. I believe it is actually because he has a lot of front end damage. Absolutely, yeah, it actually is. So if you look back at the beginning of lap 54, he's going to come down the front straightaway and have a really weird moment. He'll go into turn number 1, all the way down on the apron. And, oh, the car just like... Something happened with that car because it just took a right hook turn to the outside wall, and he was turning straight to the left, so he might have had a tire failure. That's a very odd thing to see here in this race.
Yeah, that's Adam Lancaster, and like we had seen earlier, he came through to unlap himself, so he definitely had better tires, or fresher tires at least, than the leader. So that's really peculiar to see that Adam Lancaster, sorry, I'm from Pennsylvania, we say it differently there. Adam Lancaster would have such a interesting and unfortunate turn of events for him. So hopefully he'll be all right here and get that car fixed up.
And as now the field cycles out at pit road, we actually had a bit of a lead change going on there. Nathan Maurer is not actually the person who won the race off of pit road, so they have a little bit of strategy going on here. The race is now, I believe, going to go back into the hands of fighting who these lap cars are. It's going to go into Wyatt Brackett. He was all the way back at 7th. You're going to have to see what he did. And now he's came out with the race lead here, as I believe the 15 might have actually spent on pit road. No, yeah, so the 33 took fuel only. Something's going on here with the 15. I believe he just surrendered his spot to the 971, so he might have actually yes, he did. So he actually might have gotten a speeding penalty. So really rough way for him. He's going to fall all the way to the back of the field now because of that mistake.
So Justin Winters is scored as the leader, but he's going to come down pit road here. On your screen, you can see the 88 car coming down pit lane and move Wyatt Brackett to the race lead here. And as we're going to complete another lap under yellow, there's a couple cars in between him and the pace car. Obviously, that will get sorted out as the yellow comes on and get them lined back up and ready to go. And hopefully, we'll get back to green flag racing quite soon.
And indeed, we will hopefully get a green flag coming soon this time. We might take a commercial break here. We'll let you keep you updated here as we roll on through the show. Right now, we talk about Wyatt Brackett, your new race leader. He started, it's kind of a reverse of what the start of the race was. He's not Wyatt Brackett. He started second on the front row. Now he finds himself as a race lead. And Nathan Maurer in the 971, he started on pole. Now he finds himself in the second position. And while we have this time, we will take a commercial break, take a step back, catch our breath here after that amazing long green flag run. And we'll be bringing back live flag to flag coverage here on PitStop TV for the 4th round of the Bluegrass iRacing Series, live from Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture, upload it onto a canvas, and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
And welcome back, race fans, to PitStop TV. As we are still under caution, but we have gotten the one to go. The wave around cars have now taken their their wave around. It's now they're going to stack up to the rear end of the field and get their laps back. Still, your race leader is Wyatt Bragg. Nathan Maurer is going to line up second. Third is where you're going to find Travis Miller in a 22. Fourth is going to be Tyler Johnson, the number 6 car. And this rounding out your top 5 is Jack Bauer, who has made his way up to the field. So he's having a pretty good race so far as he tries to make his way up to the race lead. We talk about he had a really good race at Daytona. Ended up losing it because of a wreck with one of the leaders. It was a lap car exiting pit road, and then that really put him in a bad position. That ended up costing him a race win. So it's really good to see him get the turnaround. As now the field's going to exit off a turn before, and I will hand it to Joe Donahue and give him a chance to call a restart this time around.
Right on, and so they're going to come out of turn number 4, lap 60 about to be complete. The drivers line up waiting for the Geico restart zone. Green flag is going to get coming on out here, and we're going to go back to green flag racing. Inside line, Wyatt Brackett and Travis Miller are going to have the advantage into turn number 1. But Travis Miller jumps up to the top side. He says, I'd rather go with Nate Maurer. We've been running good throughout the course of this event. He knows that Maurer's got the car he wants to be behind when they come down the backstretch for the first time.
Well, yeah, kind of what we've been talking about most of this race. That Wyatt Brackett, he has not have good restarts. That's something he's been really struggling with, and I think that's something that Travis has gotten kind of caught wind to, because he just ditched him and went straight with the 971, and that was one of the first passes we really seen on the outside line. And he just rocketed around him, and now he's taken over the race lead. He kind of forced the 971 up high off of exit of 4, so that's fallen him back to third, and now has boosted the number 6 car up to second. So right now, your top 5 stands as a Ford, a Chevy, a Ford, a Chevy, another Chevy, and then it ends out with another Chevy. Oh, the 33 car gets wide off of turn number 4, and like we talked about, it's going to cause a huge stack up behind him, as that 08 Toyota is going to dive to the inside and try and take over that position away, as the 33 car again struggling on these restarts. He is falling like a rock right now.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on with that 33 car, that he's just losing so much time off of the restarts. He even had the preferred inside line on it, but, I mean, obviously Travis Miller and Nate Maurer have proven that their cars are hooked up tonight. But definitely seeing Wyatt Brackett drop almost now. He looks like he might drop out of the top 10, and he does, and he's going to get passed there by Daniel Worthington to drop back to 11th. Not what we wanted to see at all for that number.
Yeah, now we have a new face in the crowd. We're going to have to see if he can stick with it here in the long run. That 6 car, we've talked about him a little bit most of the race, not because of where he's been running, but just because of that amazing Mark Martin paint scheme he has on that car. He is really starting to hook himself up, which I just realized too. We kind of talk about the Mark Martin throwback. He's on a Chevy, so that is a Ford throwback on a Chevy car, which is really kind of interesting to see, as now he's starting, regardless of that Chevy horsepower inside that car is starting to unleash all horses within it, and he's starting to run down the 22 car, and he's actually putting up a fight. If he can get the run together, he might be able to take the race lead, because behind them is Nathan Maurer, who's been the only person to put up a fight with Travis Miller all race, but he's currently trying to hold off Jack Bauer, who's an aggressive driver in his own right, so he's trying to take over that position and boost himself. He has really made his own moves after starting at 11th. He's now one of the front runners in this race, and then Fritz is also trying to do it, as now look up in the front, here comes the 6 car, diving to the inside, and he's going to take the race lead. So now we have a new leader here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, I believe our 3rd or 4th out the race. Here comes the 22 car now diving down to the inside. He's going to try and take it right back, heading into turn number 3, as the 971 is going to follow him and try and shuffle the 6 car to line, but he's going to block him and ruin his run, so he's going to slide back into that 2nd spot, as now the entire top 6 is under a blanket right now as they cross the line and complete lap 67.
Yeah, we want to give Tyler Johnson a lot of credit right here. He didn't hang with him quite at the start, but he definitely figured out what he needed to do to run with him. And once that yellow came out and everybody grouped back up together, you can see the top 6 are all running together quite close here. Travis Miller did get the lead back when Tyler Johnson made that pass, so maybe a little bit of a look what I can do type move from Tyler Johnson, or maybe a little bit of a I'm not quite done with the lead yet type move from Travis Miller. But Bauer and Bauer holding on with 3rd and 4th in single file, and then 5th and 6th place there. They were side by side, and looks like they might have gotten in single file behind him. But yeah, Travis Miller continuing to lead Tyler Johnson, has now shown he's in the hunt for this race.
Yeah, Tyler really started to come into his own. He might have used that last caution period as his own little feeling out process. Now he knows how the setup handles. He knows how it handles on new tires, old tires, and in between. So he's really starting to make himself known as he tries to run down that 22 car. Meanwhile, the 971 still holding off Jack Bauer, doing everything he can to keep that 48 car at bay. And then Nicholas Nagel in the 08 car, we saw him. He slammed the wall a couple times at turns 1 and 2 in that last run. He has started to find his rhythm again, and now he's going to try and make an outside move. And in turn number 3, that's not going to work. He's going to shuffle in behind the line with the 48 car, trying not to get contact. He's going to take a peek down the front stretch as they're getting really aggressive for these positions up here. And be aware, because if they make one small mistake, this track is a very tight racetrack for the speeds that you're going about 180 miles in the corners. And if there's one wreck, that is a big one just waiting to happen on a mile and a half like this.
Yeah, certainly. You definitely want to try to be a little patient here. I mean, we're only on lap 70, but you definitely don't want to be trying to get anything like that as a result. You kind of have to work back up through the field if you get a little too antsy. As the 48 car still holding on here, you see on your screen, to 4th position. So Bauer's got Nick Noggle all over his tail end. Through 1 and 2 here, they're still running down on the inside, and you see Nick Noggle. I'm actually impressed by his ability to put that car right on the paint on the apex of these corners, but Jack Bauer, you can't get past him when you're down there. Everybody's running that inside line all together.
Yeah, so right now, still single file, and it's an incredible thing about how fast this race has gone, because we're already at the 30 to go mark towards the halfway point. So still, we got a long way to go, but we are getting there and getting there fast. As here comes the 08 car, looking to make a dive bomb into the corner. Not going to happen. He didn't have enough momentum because of that bump in turn 1, which is one of those things that a lot of people kind of forget about with this track, and it makes it a really, really tough track in its own right. It's not just some regular oval where you dive into the corner and you can stick it in there. No, there's a hump that is in turn number 1, and you'll hit that, and the next thing you know, you're entering the corner and you will bottom out. So if you don't have a setup that can run that corner, you'll be bottoming out, and the car will understeer, and you'll deal with that the entire corner. Just instead of trying to keep the speed up to get a good run to the corner, you're just trying to hold on to keep it off the wall. Because if you get on the wall in a track like this, you can fall back 5 or 6 spots very quickly. So that's something that a lot of these drivers are going to struggle with, is trying to make a move into that corner and get a position done. Because if you want to make the pass, you have to do it by the start finish line because of that hump. So it's going to create a lot of challenges for passing here. And then in turn 3 alone, that's a tunnel turn, and that's a tricky turn in its own right, because it's just how difficult it is. It's easy to get in there, but with the tunnel turn right there, it makes it difficult to try and make a pass up in there. So it's a very challenging track, which is one of the reasons why we love it so much.
Yeah, I've always had a hard time with turn 3 myself, running around Charlotte Motor Speedway. I've always thought that the momentum you carry down the backstretch has so much more of an influence on the tight part of turn number 3, as opposed to turn 1, which, like Noah said, has that big bump that you definitely want to be careful with. But as the laps continue to wind down, and we see Scott Fritz has kind of fallen off the back end of this top 6, and then we've got Noggle, Bauer, and Mower all still somewhat close together for 3rd through 5th place, and then Johnson and Miller up front. But this is your chance to get a nice, good look at the UNOH number 100 car. As we've got that paint refreshed onto the car, you can see how truly beautiful that machine is as it's running in 6th place. Like I said, he was holding on to the top group when the restart originally came out, but he's fallen back a little bit, but maybe just a little bit of strategy. Maybe a little bit of strategy.
So still with the race lead right now is Travis Miller. He is starting to pull up a little bit of a gap of his own, but that 6 car is still right behind him, and 971 has also started to come into his own. So the long-run strategy that he likes to play is starting to take shape with himself. So now we have a 3-car fight for the lead. So now the 6 car is really starting to make himself known, because he is actually holding his own, which is incredible to see. He started all the way back at 10th. So he has really started coming to your own. That's something that you talked about, is like drivers like, oh, you might be starting back at 14th, but they can still get it done. Because if you're starting with the top 15 with how tight qualifying was, it's very possible that you can run up there and get with these leaders. Because there's drivers like Scott Fritz, actually, no, that's not him. Ed Osborne, I want to give a shout out to him in the 555 running back there in the 7th spot. He started 23rd. He's in 7th. That's how amazing that you can go. Again, Joshua Abbey in the '05 car. He started at the very tail end, then set a lap in qualifying. He's moved his way. Now he's in the 10th spot. As now an update year later, here comes the 6 car of Tyler Johnson. He's going to take that peak on the inside, heading into turn number 3. They're going to go side by side. He's going to rocket past him. All eyes now to 22 to see if he can get it down there. Oh, he's actually going to back up the corner and try and hold up to 22 to ruin any momentum he has coming out of the corner. He's going to try and force it. They make contact, but they're going to keep it straight on the 971. Going to try and make that move on the outside as they head back into 1. So now here's the 971 with a full head of steam, trying to make something happen. As now those two are going to fight. He's going to allow the 6 car to open up a lead of his own right now as they're doing everything they can to pull away from each other.
Yeah, and they're definitely going at it now. Johnson got that run through 3 and 4, and he took advantage of being on the inside when Travis Miller tried to go over-under on him, and that cut off a lot of momentum that you see now. Maurer has taken advantage of to get himself and that number 971 car back into second place. Tyler Johnson holding on to the lead as these two fight a little bit. Credit to the number 6 car as he's taken advantage of the little fight these two drivers that proved early in the race that they knew what they were doing and they knew how to keep their cars up front. He has now proven that he is a worthy contender to these two, as the 971 through 3, turn 3 is going to be gaining time slowly through the corner with a little bit of help from the draft, and maybe his long run car is just a little better than that number 6 car. He's proven it's a doozy tonight, and the number 6 still leading through turn 1, but they're single file now. We can only wait and see what the draft and momentum is going to do for that number 971 car.
Yes, and while Tyler Johnson takes over the race lead, as we start to head towards the halfway point, we talked about Trey Shuttlesworth being our social media guy. He's also kind of our Larry Mack at the race, being our kind of analysis slash stats guy. He actually might have a little something to share with us, so by all means, Trey, jump in on here and tell us what you got to say.
Yeah, so it is race 4, but it's race 4 in a 12 race championship. So I think it's worth starting to look at the points picture here as we do head into about halfway here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And we're getting a sense of what kind of pace guys have here tonight. So, for example, Justin Winters enters the race tonight. He's at the top of the point standings, up 1 point on Travis Miller, who currently stands in 3rd position. However, Justin Winters is currently sitting in P11, so he's probably, as of now, about 7 or 8 points back of the new unofficial points leader, Travis Miller, as of right now. Of course, still have a long way to go. We have about an hour and 10 minutes left in the session of racing to go. Are we going to get all 200 laps? We'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. It's the name of the game now. Run out the clock or run out the laps. This is Petite Le Mans rules now. So that's what we got to look forward to, as now Tyler Johnson is starting to run down laps and trying to lead his own. But that 971 car Trey talked about, he has overtaken the 22. Now he's up in the 2nd. So now he's going to try and run down it. Now we have a Chevy fight going on in the 1-2 as they head off into 1. So it's going to be very interesting to see how much these points shake up. Because if the 22 gets the lead and takes the win, then he's going to take the points lead regardless. But as they stand, unless the 88 can pull another rabbit out of the hat and take over the race lead and run up with the front runners, then right now it's all Travis Miller at this moment. But still, the 6 car, he can run his way up there and take over his own little bit of a points and shut down that gap and become the 4th win of the season. So there's a lot on the line here for this championship fight, because this isn't normal new NASCAR. This is old school NASCAR. There is no chase. So what you see is what you get. This is best driver wins. So you have to perform the best to win the gold. And it's exactly what these drivers might try and do, depending if Travis Miller either wants to go for the win or go for the points lead.
Yeah, Travis Miller is definitely the only driver up in the front end of up in the top 5 at least. It's really got the strong point standing coming into the event. Nick Noggles in 13th with only about 30 points back, but even still, running in the top 5 right now, Travis Miller is the only one really getting a lot of points up at the front end of the points championship. So if I were him, would I want to be conservative? Would I want to try to get the points? Would I want to go for that win? Tyler Johnson and Nate Maurer proving that they can run with him. So it's just a game of, do I want to be conservative and get those points, or am I going to try to get around these cars? Maybe risk a few more, maybe even get a W for today's race at Charlotte. It's all going to come down to the second 100 laps, which we're about 10 laps away from at this current moment in time, with Tyler Johnson leading the way right now. So he's definitely looking at a good run here, Travis Miller, that is. for the championship.
Yeah, something interesting to keep in mind. I was actually looking through the points while you were talking there, and the interesting thing to point out, Nathan Maurer, this is his second start. He has not made all the starts, so I believe he might have started at Richmond, and now he's come here. So this is his second start. But Tyler Johnson, this is his first start. He has not made any points so far this season, so this leads me to believe that this is his first start. So imagine this, your first start in the league, and you're disrupting everything that these leaders are going after, because if you, again, this is only a 12 race season, so it's not that long to begin with, but with 4 races in, if you win a race and you can keep the momentum rolling, you can quickly kind of factor yourself in there, maybe as a top 5 driver. Because the more races you win, you can cut down that gap. So the 6 car, really strong pace showing out here on what might be his debut race, and what a great job he's doing so far. If he can get the win, it'll be even more impressive to watch if he can pull that off.
Yeah, and imagine being Travis Miller. The 6 car is going to come into pit lane, and he's going to bring Maurer with him. So we're going to start seeing. He almost got up into the wall there. He really was aggressive on the in lap there for the coming into the pits. But yeah, like I was saying before they came in, to see that being Travis Miller or being Nathan Maurer, who's already got a start, to have a newcomer bring it to the front and compete so well with them, I wonder what that's going to make them think as the championship moves forward. And as for Tyler Johnson too, if this is his first start, is he going to say, "Oh, that was fun," or is he going to be contesting for the lead? As you see, it's going to be Nick Noggle bringing it in now with the 43 car in front of him. So green flag pit stops are underway here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yes, and more drivers starting to make their way down pit road, making that long drive down, trying to find out who the race leader is going to be currently. But because of the madness that goes on with these green flag pit stops, it's really hard to figure out. It looks like, unlike usual of what we see out of the last pit stop, everyone's kind of coming out at the same time. So it's not really creating much of a stack up, but we're going to have to wait. Right now, it's still showing Nick Noggle as your current race leader as we wait. Shows Wyatt Brackett as well. He's actually on pit road. He just entered his pit stall. So right now all eyes again are on that 22 car to see what's going to go on. It's 971 all over his back bumper, as well as they head off into turn number 1. They are creating their own little run there, as they are still nose to tail as they head off down the back straightaway yet again. There's actually a kind of an interesting thing that happens. You talk about the 6 car, really aggressive on his in lap. He might have got I don't know if they do pick him in violations, but he got some sort of penalty because he sat on pit road a lot longer, so it leads me to believe that he did, in fact, have to serve, I believe, around a 35-second penalty because he has fallen way off the pace. He is actually a lap down, not even the lucky dog spot, so all of it comes loose because, again, if we talk about a lot, a track like Charlotte, and any race whatsoever for that matter, whether it's an F1 or not, a race is won or lost in the pits. You can do as well as you can throughout the entire race, but one pit stop mistake, it can ruin all of it. As we're actually under caution yet again, and that's going to ruin it for Tyler Johnson because he's going to be stuck a lap down because of that.
Yeah, and that's certainly going to help Miller and Maurer out with Tyler Johnson because he is their main competitor. But we've got to check out what is the reason for our yellow flag here on lap 93.
Absolutely, we will. I am trying to figure it out, so just give me one moment here as we try to figure this out.
So certainly the rest of the guys who did not get in here are going to take advantage of this pit stop. They're going to cycle out in front of all of those guys who are now a lap down behind them. As Noah said before, that Hail Mary approach that we were talking about with the back markers is not quite in effect fully because Travis Miller and Nate Maurer are at the front end of the field still. But this is going to shake up the grid a lot for our drivers. As you see, a name that has not yet been in the top 10 much tonight, Joshua Abbey, running in 8th place now as a result of this caution.
All right, I'm still. Actually, it looks like the 43 car who got the caution. So Josh McKenney in that 43 STP car, it was around lap 76. He was actually exiting the pits. So here's what happened. He exited the pits, and he's trying to get as much as he can gain as much time as he can. So he's all the way up on that small banking. There's a little bit of a banking on the top of it, and he hit the flat spot, and he tried to stay as best he can. And the next thing you know, he's spinning out. And he spun up right in front on the racetrack. So obviously, because of that, they have to throw the caution to avoid in case any of the leaders come by. As you saw, the 100 car actually does end up passing him because of that. So the last thing you want is the possibility of a wreck happening. So obviously, that's a caution, but because of that, now that's really going to ruin it for a lot of drivers who are trying to get their laps back. And while we do have the time, thanks to this caution, we're going to have to thank our sponsor one more time and pay the bills once again. Starting off, like we talked about, BRP iRacing Series. The BRP iRacing Series is a series run and owned by Northeastern big block modified drivers, crew guys, and fans. If you're looking to get into dirt racing or already are, this league is for you. BRP is a fixed setup league that runs 360 winged sprint cars and pro late models. The BRP iRacing Series will be adding the big block mods to their series lineup upon the release on the iRacing.com service. You can find BRP on their Facebook page, the BRP iRacing Series.
Tonight's broadcast also brought to you by Tucson Sound Art. Your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and they will create for you a beautifully framed, high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker featuring their sound art technology. You get the best of both worlds with these products. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for any additional info on these beautiful pieces of art.
Next up, we have to thank Permanent Makeup in Cryo in Maine. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care money can buy. Here at Permanent Makeup in Cryo in Maine, the owner Ashley Boulier is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. If you're looking for the best solutions for your PMU concerns, give us a call today to book a consultation. You can also contact them at permanentmakeupinmaine.com or call or text them at 207-358-8683. And if you visit their Facebook page, Permanent Makeup in Cryo in Maine, you will see that they do monthly giveaways. If you submit your entry, who knows, you might just win something. So it's always great to see. So be sure to go check that out and enter their giveaways, because you never know, you might end up winning something you might love.
And with that, of course, we want to give a shout out to Whiplash Media, PitStop TV's new parent organization. They're specializing in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes for your cars, stream overlays for your videos, iRacing camera packs, and much more. Whiplash Media also working on creating a presence in real-world racing, offering services such as photography, social media management, and public relations. Be sure to go check out www.whiplash-media.com for more information.
And with that being said, we are still currently under caution here. Right now, your leader is now Travis Miller once again, who has been dominating most of the race so far. We might try and see if we can get a word with him here for an interview while we have this time. He's currently running with the lead. We're still under caution, so we'll try and see if we can get him in here in the boost. Just give me one moment, and I'll see if we can pull that off.
And while he tries to bring him in, we're just going to give a quick shout out to our cameraman Jacob for the video you're seeing on the screen, doing an excellent job for this broadcast tonight. Thank you, Jacob, for your help.
As I try to get it in here. Alright, let's see if we can get a Mr. Travis Miller in here. Travis Miller, it's Noah Carmichael up at the PitStop TV booth. Do you got a copy?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Well, you have been the man on the mission so far this whole race. You started on up there in the 4th position. You've been running with the leaders, running out the best of them, like Nathan Maurer and what was Tyler Johnson for that most part. How are you tackling this track so far tonight to be able to run up here with these leaders?
A lot of it's just I'm just trying to save my tires. I've noticed that like I'm real good early on, and then Nathan gets real fast on the long run. So just about saving the tires early and hoping the cautions fall our way for the end here.
Well, we've also noticed he's not really up there now, but we've been seeing a lot is the Wyatt Bracken. You actually kind of figured it out that he's not really doing that well on the restart. So how are you tackling that kind of stuff? Because like you talk about in the last restart, you were stuck right behind him and you almost made it 3 wide going into the corner. So how are you tackling stuff like that on restarts on a track so tight like Charlotte Motor Speedway?
Yeah, so he actually told us that he was on old tires before that restart. So we were just we told him like, hey, just make sure your restart's good so that we don't spin the tires here and wreck the field. So he did pretty good on not spinning the tires, and I just knew I had to get behind, just get on the other side of him, or else I was going to get pinned up there on the bottom. So thankfully it all worked out, and we were able to get around him there.
Absolutely, and you came in here going into that 1-point fight with just the winners. Right now, you haven't really seen much of them. Has that really crossed your mind at all about this whole point situation? Because you came in here, like we said, with that 1-point gap. So you guys are neck and neck. But is there any kind of fear right now of some of these new guys? Because you talk about the 971. This is his second start, and the second car being his first start. There's a lot of newcomers here that are giving you a run for your money as you try to come out here and become a 2-time winner this season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think about it too much. It's really early in the season. I'm just kind of focusing on good top 5 ones, and hoping to go for wins here.
Absolutely. Before we let you go here, do you have anybody you want to thank right now for the run you're having so far tonight?
Just all the guys on the car, and I gotta thank my girlfriend for letting me do it. Without her, I wouldn't be on here spending all this time. So, and thanks to you guys for putting it on. It's great.
Absolutely, we appreciate the shout out. We'll move you back down there, and good luck, and hopefully we get to see more of you out here in the race here tonight.
Green flag.
Thanks, guys.
And with that being said, we're actually back underway, so that actually ended up going a lot longer than I thought he did, but that didn't really phase him too much because he jumped out to a really early race lead as he sailed back off into turn number 1 of the 971, trying to catch up with him as he exits off of turn number 2. But right now, the 22 pulling away from these leaders as they head down the back straightaways. Now we are 3 laps to go from our halfway moment of this race.
Yeah, and if I'm Travis Miller, I'm thinking how good the luck is when I'm on getting an interview on the PitStop TV broadcast here when I have to come to a restart. He absolutely shot out of a cannon off that restart. So the Canadian driver now gapped Nate Maurer to second place, who's now slowly starting to catch up. Jack Bauer in third place in single file line, and then a race for fourth place behind Noggle and Fritz. It looks like there goes Bauer down the inside of Nate Maurer, and he's going to slide into second place in his Ally Chevrolet and try to see if he can reel in Travis Miller as we're getting closer and closer to the halfway point of this race. It's going to start becoming a dash to the finish here of solo driver.
Yeah, like we talked about, that outside line not being really something that you can run. If you're stuck up there, you're going to fall way back. That's exactly what's happened to the 971. He has fallen back to third. Scott Fritz in the 100 car looked maybe to make a move on the inside, but he ended up falling back and checking up the 19 car of Mitch Smith. So now he's going to fall back there into the 4th position. But now, like we talked about, Nicholas Noggle and Jack Bauer, 2 drivers who've been running back there on the top 10, top 5 positions. Now they're up there with the race leaders trying to make their names heard. So now they're throwing their names into the fight here for this race. Jack Bauer, one of the guys who have been running all these races, so he's actually one of the drivers who, if he wins, that'll really boost him into a championship hunt. Same for Noggle and same for Fritz. The only driver really the odd man out is Maurer, who's making his second start, but he's been putting on one heck of a performance here tonight.
Yes, certainly is. Noggle's in third place right here with Bauer and Miller still in front of him. It's a top 5 here. These guys have been consistent now, the lot of them from Miller down to Fritz. But 6th place now is Smith here in that's the first time we've seen that name run here tonight. Is that correct? Yes.
And as they make their way back off of turn number 4 again, still your race leader is that 22 of Travis Miller. Jack Bauer trying to do whatever he can to try and catch up to him. But that 08 of Noggle is not giving him any breathing room to try and make a run. If he falls even a little bit back, that Toyota is going to be all over his back bumper. You'll know he might try and give a bumper to try and get around him. But still the 22 car starting to pull away a little bit of a gap again. About a car length or a half gap is what you were seeing as they make their way into turn number 3. But he's going to open that up again once they head on the front stretch. He's just really found his long run strategy. And then here comes the 08. He making a peek to the inside, now side by side down the front stretch. One of the only Toyotas in the field that we have seen so far. And now he might be trying to make a run and spoil the Chevy 4 party. So now he's going to try and make it on the inside. A little bit of an understeer coming into the corners. They're going to go side by side down the back straightaway over the fight for the runner-up spot.
Yeah, Nick Noggle holding on the inside of Jack Bauer. I'm actually pretty surprised Jack Bauer can hold on so well on the top side like we've been saying all night. The inside's the way to go, and Travis Miller's looking in his rearview mirror saying, I want this to continue. He wants this to stay side by side. It will allow him to hold some momentum, run a better line than the cars who almost just made contact going into turn number 1 and maybe be able to gap them, but now gets past Jack Bauer, at least temporarily, as Bauer's going to look down the inside. He also jumps into the back of Travis Miller, falls back a little bit here, and you see Jack Bauer's going to try to come back down on the inside again. He's washing up a little bit. Nick Noggle holding his own on the top side, and his momentum is going to carry him past the 48 with Maurer. Now Nate Maurer's momentum on the outside. We'll see if he can get around Jack Bauer. The long run specialist for the number 971 for Nate Maurer. That car has been put up as we run. So we'll see when that starts coming into effect as he's going around the outside of the number 48 car. The outside passage we've seen today on the broadcast.
Yeah, but it's not really, he hasn't cleared him just yet. He might get on the exit of the corner. It just tells you how much quicker the 971 is. He actually a little bit voices frustration. I don't have my chat turned up to hear exactly what he said, but kind of to your point, you're talking about, oh, the Noggle and Bauer are fighting. That's going to really let Travis Miller open up that gap. That's kind of what I would assume was the same exact thought that was going into 971's mind, because it's like, hey guys, cut this out. You're racing this aggressive for second. That's just letting the 22 car open up a gap, but not that much, as Noggle has taken over the second spot. And again, he's all over the back bumper of that 22 car. But we have to keep in mind is how his tire degradation has been going, because he might have just killed it trying to fend off that hard on the 48 car. He might just have to hold on, as the 971 might take a peek coming into turn number 1. He's going to try it on the outside, but no, the door closes and he has to fall back in line and maybe try and make a run on the inside this time.
Nick and Nate coming down the back straightaway, and Nate all over the back end of Nick Noggle trying to get around him. His long run car might be hooked up and ready to go, but Nick Noggle not quite ready to give up the position, and certainly wouldn't want to do so anyway. As we've passed halfway now, we start the winding down of the laps left in the race. Travis Miller's gap is still pretty significant, as Noggle and is he going to get him on the outside? Is the momentum going to carry him past? Noggle falls back to third place. Nate Maurer now up to second, and he's going to try to reel in Travis Miller again and get back up there. He's got the long run car. We know he's good at it, but like Noah said, are the tires degraded from the aggression he had to use to get back up into second place? Or is he going to be able to reel him in? There's still plenty of race left. Definitely going to have to come in for at least a few more pit stops. So not all hope is lost, but as Noah said, he was seen to be frustrated on the radio. That could affect it both mentally and physically on track with the 971 car as we continue up down the laps.
And speaking of aggressive fighting going on here, look back there in the 5th spot. There's a fight going on between Scott Fritz and Matt Gruner. The 15 and the 100 car, those two are going at it for the last 2 laps. 15 trying to dive it in on the inside, but there's no man there to take it because the 100 car has just been able to outrun him on the exit of the corner. In front of him is that 48 car of Bauer. That's kind of the buffer zone. And a guy that we were talking about, Wyatt Brackett, someone who's been struggling in the restarts, he has now crawled his way back up. He's now up into the 7th position. So he's been able to hold on to that top 10 spot and now back in a position to fight for a top 5 position. As all the OA car really going to check up, that's going to affect the 48. And as we talk about, when you check up, that causes a really big stack up. And now we have this about 5 or 6 car fight here for about a 3rd place position, as now the top 2 has starting to run away, as the entire back end of the top 10 are really starting to stack up as the 08 cuts off the 48 and in turn 1 and almost got turned by the 15 because of that.
Yeah, like you said, when you get off the throttle, it just groups up everybody behind you, and these are some of the big names of our race so far. Jack Bauer, Nick Noggle, Bernier's now back in the picture, like you said. It's just getting antsy here. The drivers definitely want to start working on trying to put each other behind them, try to get up to Travis Miller and Nate Maurer as they're starting to put a pretty good gap on these guys. We're riding on board the 15 car down the inside of Jack Bauer. He's going to have a preferred line in turn number 3, but we'll see if we can actually get him. Jack Bauer has proved that he's not afraid to get a little aggressive on the top side, but it does look like he's going to fall back this time.
Yeah, one of the more aggressive racers in this league. He has proven it time and time again throughout the season. He's part of the Daytona with how he was working with Scott Fritz up there in the front pack. Now he's doing it here. He is showing he's not afraid to make those moves. He doesn't care how it affects his tires. Though the 100 car was a little bit understeer. He's going to put the 48 car on the wall. He's going to go back down to the 113, and they're going to keep it straight. And that is impressive to see. As check out the 6 car. He's in a lucky dog position. So he's like, oh, please wreck, because if you did, that puts me back on the lead lap, and I can go run with these leaders again. Because he's running up in about the sixth car, like if he was on a lead lap, about in the fifth or sixth spot, so he still has the speed. He's trying to get the lap back via just running down the leaders. But right now, he's in a good spot to get the lucky dog if a wreck does in fact happen. He looks to the inside of that 48 car, and they're going to send it off into turn number 1. He might clear him this time, but still your race leader is that 22 of Travis Miller. But we talk about Maurer, he has that just the same way Miller talked about. He has really got that long run car set up, and he is running down these leaders lap after lap after lap, and he has been able to pull up to these guys, run with them all throughout the race. He's about to do it again and maybe try to make a dive bomb into the corner. And again, just how impressive would it be if in his second start in this league, he ends up taking the win here at one of the biggest races of the season here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, you saw through 3 and 4 the last time they came through. Maurer just gaining ridiculous amounts of time on the number 22, Travis Miller. He said it himself. He knows that Maurer's got a good long-run car, the 971, and certainly the driver wants to take advantage of it. The driver who's actually from my home state, Nathan Maurer, is a Pennsylvania native, following Travis Miller, the Canadian in the number 22 Ford. You see, as we're on board with Maurer here, into turn number 1 and 2. He does have a good run on the 22 when it comes into the turn. It looks like the middle of the corner might be where the 22 gets a little bit of a handicap, although that might also just be Nathan Maurer understanding that he cannot get on the tail end of that car and get on the bumper of the 22 without causing some sort of problem for the field.
Yeah, so the PA posse being well represented there as he runs up there in a second spot. Travis Miller still your leader as he's been able to fend him off. Those two have been really the only two people that can fight for the lead besides the 6 car, but that has been kind of ruined unless we do get another caution, barring he's involved with it. But those two have been the nose to tail throughout the entire race, kind of inseparable of what we saw out of the Galaxy Cup Series. I forget the drivers, like Eric Wineland, I believe, Dylan Hicksonbaugh, back when we covered those guys at this track. Those two were inseparable for most of the race with each other, and it proved time and time again about how close you can get here. And this is exactly what's going on here. It's been a 2-man show for most of the race, and Matt Grenier is the closest person to them that can catch him, but they're about close to 2.5 seconds off. Right behind them, Nicholas Noggle and Wyatt Brackett fighting on for the 4th spot, which just tells you why these guys open up a gap, because they are just so aggressive for any position on the track that they can get, and that's allowing these two to open a gap. As here comes the 971 taking the race lead going to turn number 3. He's going to stack up. Here comes the 22 back down the inside, going to try to pull the crossover down the front stretch just time by as we approach lap 120, so the lap's still winding down very quickly here tonight.
Indeed, 80 laps to go, and it's starting to become a back and forth between Travis Miller and Nate Maurer, as Nate Maurer on the outside out of the corner here is going to have a little bit more momentum. The 22 stays low, can't quite cut up front of the 971 and block him down the backstretch, but through 3 and 4 they're side by side, and the momentum on the outside is going to put Maurer in the lead at least temporarily, but out of turn number 4 we'll see if that holds. And he's going to take it at the line, just barely over Travis Miller. That lap was led by the 971, but Miller on the inside going to try to make it back, and he's going to do so. The inside line, Travis Miller knows that darn well up to this point in the race. Slowly coming down with 79 laps to go here. 22 car and these 971, they're still side by side into turn number 3. No, it's surprising that these two are going so hard at each other with so much time left in the race. You know just as well, oh, there goes Travis Miller. He's going to come in to the pits now. As I was saying, you know that going side by side is not worth it. It's just going to let everybody else behind you catch up to them. But Maurer stays out. Travis Miller comes in, and some strategy is going to start playing into the ending of this race now.
Yeah, you talk about the drivers behind them catching up. That's exactly what the 15 car was doing through all that, and about the 2 laps of those two were side by side that allowed the 15 car to close up about a second on them. So now the gap is about 1.4 seconds, but now the question is, when is the 971 going to pit? That answer is now. He's making his dive down the pit road, handing the race lead off to Matt Grenier. Wyatt Brackett now in the second position. Nicholas Noggle has now fallen back to 3rd, as now the 6th car in the position that he was looking for. He is the 4th car in line, but he is the 1st car a lap down. So if a caution does come out, that is really going to save him, because now he can take that pit stop under caution and then get his lap back. So what he's really hoping for is maybe to pull his little own strategy of an undercut to try to take back his lap and be able to run up there and just hope for a caution, because right now he is still running out a lot of these guys. It's still impressive to see that he has not given up despite the mistake he made on pit road, and you got to wonder if he might make that mistake again because of how aggressive he was coming into the pits.
Yeah, you wonder, is Tyler Johnson going to be upset with himself? Is he going to be trying to push to get any millisecond of gain he can out of the number 6 Valvoline car? Or is he going to be conservative because he knows he's made that mistake and he knows how bad it bit him in the butt last time? As the leader, Grenier comes down the pit lane, and he's going to hand the lead off to Nick Noggle as he stays out with Justin Winters staying behind him on the racetrack with Scott Fritz in third.
And now we approach lap 125, now closing on the 3/4 mark of this race. That would be lap 150. Another thing to keep in mind, we are now under an hour. We have an hour left in this race before the time runs out. As we stand right now, we should easily make that. There's less than 80, we're close to less than 80 to go, which is exactly where we need to be. So right now, the time isn't an issue, but as we've seen someone in the past, these races can end up becoming kind of a wreck fest where everyone's trying to take the lead. They have that racer's mentality of, I'm in 5th, I want to take that win, and you can't blame them. But that ends up causing a huge melee of cars just trying to take the win, and we end up running out of time. So that's something you got to keep in mind. As the 08 continues to hold on to the race lead, a 6 car running him down to take his lap back. He might get it this time, depending if the 08 does pit this time by. He is slowing. He will make his way down pit road. So now Justin Winters going to take over the race lead once again. So maybe trying to pull that rabbit out of the hat strategy. Maybe not trying to hope for a Hail Mary caution, but maybe trying to outrun everybody and maybe cut down a pit stop to try to take over this race lead. Imagine if he could pull the long run strategy and end up taking the win on fuel strategy instead of running out with the leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it. If you take one less pit stop than everybody else, we've seen it that when you come down the pit lane, you're giving up an entire lap to the car that stays out and stays in the race lead, as the number 6 car is going to dive down to pit lane and leave Justin Winters some clear racetrack up front. Looked like the 6 car looked like he did a little bit better job getting into pit lane. Actually, a lot better job getting into pit lane than the first time around. But yeah, cutting out an entire pit stop from this race, that's a whole lap of racing that you're going to get ahead of your competitors. So maybe Justin Winters is trying to pull off some sort of new strategy because we haven't quite seen him up front throughout the course of this race. And certainly there's plenty of time left, as now he's going to relinquish it and come down pit lane here, the number 88.
Along with him, David Bracken, the 38, he would have been the person to take over the race lead. Now he finds himself making a long dive down the pit road. The 113 in third place, he's already on pit road. So now again, all eyes on Travis Miller exiting turn number 2. The closest person behind him is still Nathan Maurer. So he lost a lot of time on pit road because of that. So again, the undercut strategy working for that 22 car, because now the gap that we're looking at is about maybe a second when they come across the line this time by. But now the field's starting to go back into what we saw as Travis Miller retakes the race lead. He's going to try and run away with it as now we approach lap 130. So again, logging his laps off lap after lap, faster and faster as they go around as we're coming close to seeing the 20 to go mark maybe.
Yeah, hopefully we can get there. The guy's definitely doing a good job now of staying consistent, not making any mistakes. Travis Miller definitely doesn't want anything of the sorts to happen to him, as he's going to pull up behind the 83 car, and the lap traffic going to let him by really easy. No problem for the number 22 car, and a very, very credible and selfless move there by the number 83 to let Travis Miller take that run and not cause any problems for him. So he regained the race lead as the pit stop cycle closed, a large gap to Nate who's been the main competitor to this number 22 car up at the front end to this point, with certainly a lot of other heavy hitters in the mix throughout it as well. But Nate Maurer, so the long run car, he might be able to wheel in the 22 car. You see, the 22 actually back on street now, as the 971 made that pass on lap traffic, and he is going to try to reel in the 22 again. Long run car, hopefully a long run for him. Maybe he can reel in the 22 car again here, Noah.
Absolutely. We saw, if you looked at the timing and the scoring, he actually closed the gap down by about a second. So the 13 car gets into the wall. He's actually a lap down, which is the exact opposite of what Tyler Johnson wanted to see, because now the first car a lap down is on 13 of Brian Terry. David Bracken of 38 is the second car in line, and Tyler Johnson. So Tyler is actually fallen down outside of the lucky dog spot, which is exactly the opposite of what he wants to see. So I guess kind of when it rains it pours, because then he's going to try and fight and catch back up. But speaking of catching up, the 971 with a dive bomb into the corner, really closing the gap. He is really putting the power down, and he's going to go side by side with him and try to take the race lead away from him. Behind them is actually the fight for the lucky dog spot between Brian Terry and the 38 of David Brackett. So yeah, the lucky dog fight also in the middle of the leader fight. So this is getting really interesting. The 38 car, who is on about 5 lap pressure tires, and both the drivers in front of him might actually just take his lap back himself, which would be impressive to see if he does in fact want to try that.
Yeah, David Brackett certainly looks like he's going to try to. He's all over Travis Miller right now as Nate Marrs leading this 4-car pack past the start-finish line again. Looking down on the low side, the number 38 car, they're running together. The 13 kind of had a pretty consistent and smooth line down the front stretch. The 38 car, you see him, he's kind of all over the place, trying to see if he can maybe find a way around this 22 car. Obviously, he would love to stay in the lucky dog spot, but if he could get in front of these two, he wouldn't even have to worry about it. He'd be back on the lead lap.
Which is exactly what Tyler Johnson wants. He's saying he might, if he's watching the stream, he's going to be seeing the 13 to 38. He's like, please just pass him, because then that puts him back in the lucky dog spot, which is exactly what he needs to put himself back into the even the chance for a top 10 fight. But still, the 971 has taken over the race lead over Travis Miller. He's going to start to open his own gap, as now the 38 David Brackett is all over the back bumper to that 22 car, which is exactly opposite of what he wants to see, because the last thing you really want to see is these lapped cars getting in the middle of it, but you can't blame them for wanting to get their laps back, because if a caution comes out, then hey, what happens? They're now in the fight for to get themselves some points and a really good finish. So that is a 4-car fight with multiple implications on the line that could affect the lead, affect the point standings, and affect the running order as they stand, because a lot of these guys are going to try and take over the laps, and they even have to worry about the lucky dog, as they're all over each other trying to run in line right now.
Yeah, and certainly the implications of these 4 cars running with each other doesn't just stay within the group of them. It does affect Tyler Johnson, and it does affect the other drivers like Jack Bauer and Grenier, who are trying to see if they can get up there with Travis Miller and Nate Marr. Maybe if the 4 of these cars fight it out a little bit amongst each other, those guys, Jack Bauer will be able to take advantage of it. He'll get back up to them, which would be what he'd want to see as we're slowly winding down to about 75% of this race left. We are on lap 137. Nate Marr still leading Travis Miller here, but it looks like Brackett's just kind of staying in line, and it looks like actually the 4 of them are doing so together, so this is actually not what Jack Bauer would have wanted to see, as Grenier actually made the pass, and we have a new third-place driver. Not what they want to be seeing, that these guys are all cooperating.
Yeah, the fight back there between Grenier, Bauer, and Brackett is really starting to heat up. Grenier has now taken over the 3rd spot. Jack Bauer now trying to fend off the 33 car, but probably to no avail of that 33 car. All over the back bumper of him. But the 48, as we talk about, one of the more aggressive drivers in this series, and he's not afraid to stick his nose in there. He actually runs wide off of turn number 4. It's going to allow the 33 car to dive to the inside. He's now going to take over the 4th position from Jack Bauer. Now here comes Nicholas Nagel, now starting to close the gap, along with Scott Fritz. So the gap starting to close in, as this top 5 fight that we've been talking about for the last few runs is now starting to take shape again. As talking inseparable, those guys have been inseparable, but still out front is still that 971 of the 22, as they're running 1-2 with those laps cars right behind them running neatly in line right now. I'm surprised we're not seeing more fighting going on for those lap cars trying to take over the lucky dog spot. That's exactly what they need in case a caution comes down. With how they're racing up there for those top 5 spots, you could see it at any moment.
Yeah, and certainly the lap cars trying to get their runs back here, is it's going pretty good here for Nick Nagel, and he's got Jack Bauer behind him now, so that 08 car breaks into the top 5 again on your screen, you see here. So I was watching the timing and scoring, and I saw Daniel Worthington in the top 10 for a brief moment in time. I see Joshua Abbey has now returned to the top 10. I was going to give credit to Daniel Worthington. He was having a pretty solid and quiet day, just sitting outside the top 10. Obviously, we saw him on screen with a Code Brown moment earlier on with Jack Bauer hitting the wall. In that 113 car, he managed to keep it clean. Hopefully it didn't have any major implications on his race. And he's back now in 9th position. Abbey now up to 8th, and Daniel Worthington up to 9th place, but I've been watching him. I've been pretty impressed by that green number 113 today. He's been pretty quiet, but it's a consistent day for that car towards the tail end of the top 10.
And during all that, what ended up happening actually, I think we might have just heard that there was wreck going on. I'm going to try and see. I heard something going on in the scanner. Oh, nope, they just said that he is good, but actually the 21 of John Kenner is smoking in pit road. So there is no caution. We will stay green, but major implications for the 21 car is his night just keeps getting worse for him. But still out front is that 971 of Nathan Maurer. The 22 of Travis Miller is still running right behind them. But as I was talking about, that lucky dog fight I talking about between Brian Terry and David Brackett, Brackett ended up slapping the wall out of turn number 4 and allowed a 13 car to get around him. So now those two actually swapped positions, which is why you see the gap going on between those two because of that little incident that stacked up the 13, and now those two are in their own little 2-car pack, separated from each other by about 4 or 5 car lengths, but still major implications going on for the 21 car. It looks like his night is over.
Yeah, tough break for Kinder there. He did very well. He came out of the gun swinging, and he had a potential pull for a little bit when we were in qualifying, but yeah, definitely coming down pit lane with smoke rolling out of the back end of your car, not what you want to see, and it's definitely an unfortunate thing, especially at this stage in the race. It's been so much time, so much effort, so much mental strain into getting this race underway, trying to figure out how to get your car up to the front, and there's only about 25% of it left on pit lane at the end of the day. Tough break, tough on the line for.
Yes, but the show must go on. Exactly what's going on is Travis Miller all over the back bumper to the 971. He might try and make the look into the turn number 1. As here's the 43 car going to go all the way down to the apron to get those leaders by. Props to him for getting out of the way as the fight between the 22 and the 971 heating up once again. As here they go down the back stretch as he's going to get right in the toe. Stevie might take a peek to the inside. Nope, he's actually going to give him a little bit of a bump going into turn number 3 to try and shoot him for the race, try a little bit of a bump and run. Not at a track like Charlotte, do you want to do that? Off his turn number 4 they go now. He's going to try and close the gap in once again as they are just running all over each other, as those two have been talking about. They've been inseparable since his second run began after the green flag pit stops. Once the 971 caught up and passed him, he has not been able to gap him. And that's exactly what he's been trying to do. The 22 car is just stuck to him, but just can't get the run on him to make him move.
Yeah, and Travis Miller had said he knew he had to conserve tires at the start of the runs because he knew the 971 would be good as the runs continued. And earlier on in the race, we saw the 971 was able to gap the 22 car, able to get a run and then hold on to it. Travis Miller did not quite know what strategy he had to use to keep on the tail end of the 971 of Nate Maurer. But here on screen, you can easily see that Travis Miller has figured it out. He does know what he needs to do to keep the number 22 Ford on the tail of Maurer as they go through 3 and 4. They're very close together, less than a car length between the two of them. We're coming up to 75% of the race complete. 50 laps will be to go next time by. And Nate Maurer continuing to lead over Travis Miller here, but Miller definitely figured out what he needs to do to keep that car on the tail end of the 971's bumper. So down the back stretch, the gap grows a little bit, but Travis Miller's definitely holding on. This is the position he wanted to put himself in when we talked to him about keeping that car at the end of this race.
Yeah, you also gotta wonder, there's a little bit of games being played here by that 22 car, because since he's running behind him, he's all over the back bumper, he's making that 971 push, so you gotta wonder if he's trying to make him run out his stuff to force him into a position where he's gonna struggle, maybe try and overtake him like that, make him pit early. So like you talk about, a lot of strategy being put up as here comes more and more cars, as Travis Miller telling somebody to go high. I think he might be letting one of these laps cars by. They're not going to make the move, I believe. So now the run's still going on. So actually, no. He's telling that he's going to make his way down pit road now. So here comes the 22 car. What might be one of the last few pit stops we see, barring if we have maybe one left. As now here they come. As the 971 now telling you I believe that is the 73 car of Dylan Davidson. He's telling him to go by, so expect the 971. Yep, he just said on the radio, coming in this time by, so expect the race leader. So here we go, another round of green flag pit stops underway, as now we at the 3/4 mark of tonight's race, as now we're going to start seeing more and more of the race strategy play into effect here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
A really, really aggressive pit entry for Maurer there. I'll have to watch to make sure he didn't get a penalty on that one, but he is going to relinquish the lead to Matt Grenier to put that number 15 snap-on car back at the front end of the field with Nick Noggle right behind him. We'll just have to see how long these two want to stay out. I don't think we're going to be able to make it to the end of the race from here. We're certainly going to probably see another round of pit stops, whether it be in green flag or yellow flag conditions. The 13 letting the number 15 have a whole bunch of space. I think he actually might be coming into the pit lane this time, but Grenier's going to stay out, keep that snap-on car up front. And no, the 13 did not come in, but he is going to have a large gap in between him and Nick Noggle.
NASCAR's in a huge stack up behind there. You see the 6 car. Actually, that's actually brought up the interesting point now, because this brings into the factor of lucky dog position, because now the 13 car is going to get passed by the 6. So now he's second in line on a lucky dog spot. He seems way off the pace now. So now the 6 car is second in line for lucky dog. He's going to go to the inside. He might pass the 38 car, which puts him back into lucky dog position as they rocket off at turn number 4 this time. Nicholas Noggle out in front. Wyatt Brackett still running there. And something that I should mention I forgot about, they are running 50% fuel cap. So yes, you're right. We probably are going to see one more pit stop being played at least. As now here comes a 22. Back out again. The 38, he's actually blocking the 22. Wow, he actually slid up right in front of him and really, really hurt his run there. So now he had to back off, and he's going to rocket by him in turn number 3. But that 38 car held him up by a lot. Look at him wedge the gap between the 33 car and the 6. He's just all over him. He is a man on a mission to try and outrun the 971 because he knows how good of a long run car he has. He's going to try and use the short run to create the biggest gap he can to try and create some buffer between him and a lot of these lap cars.
Yeah, and he's definitely pushing. You can tell. I mean, he went 3 wide through 3 and 4. We're getting into the closing stages of the race where the drivers who are really starting to have a chance at winning this event are going to start being a little more conservative about that type of thing. But Travis Miller definitely proved he's going aggressive. This is his moment to put as much time between him and the next best cars on track and hopefully be able to hold on to something as the race continues on. So Scott Fritz is the leader as we're still cycling through, but the 22, Travis Miller, leading the way of the guys who have taken their pit stops so far.
And if you talk about Scott Fritz now, your race leader in that 100 car, we haven't talked about him much ever since one of the last 3 starts. He kind of fell off, and he's running with those mid-pack drivers. And now he steps off into turn number 3. He's actually slowing, so he's looked for him to pit this time by. That's going to give Daniel Worthington the race lead if he does choose to stay out. I might not expect... Nope, he is going to stay out, so he will take over the race lead. Nicholas Noggle is the 3rd car in line. He's actually on pit road, so you have to wait for timing and scoring to kind of spread that out. As now Daniel Worthington on a more TT car, you talked about kind of being quiet. He's running up there in 9th position. Now he's going to start to lead some laps for himself as he's starting to run up. Here comes the 48, Jack Bauer, going to fly by him and take his lap back as he is one of the drivers who have already pitted.
Yeah, Worthington actually also a native of Pennsylvania like yours truly, and I'm very happy to see him leading a lap here because I've been feeling that his car has been running pretty okay. Maybe not perfect, maybe not keeping up with the front-running big guns of Travis Miller and Nate Maurer, but that car definitely doing what it needs to for him. He's been pretty consistent, pretty quiet. I've been liking the way that his race has been going. So it's good to see him get some laps led in here.
The yellow flag
Travis
is out.
Miller in 2nd place is gaining pretty quickly, so obviously. And we have a yellow flag on the track as I speak, so that's really going to help Daniel Worthington out for the cycling of this one.
That's going to help a lot of drivers, and it's also going to hurt a lot of drivers. Drivers like Justin Winters, he should get the lucky dog because of that, but that's going to stick Scott Fritz, Matt Grenier, Nicholas Noggle, Wyatt Brackett, Wes Weejan, Joshua Abbey, a lot of big-name drivers that are running up there in the top 10. Now we're going to be stuck a lap down depending if these guys pit or not. So that is the last thing they wanted to see. But since Travis Miller is your race leader, it's going to stick a lot of drivers ninth on back a lap down depending who gets the lucky dog, which should be Matt Grenier now, seeing as more drivers start to factor in and go around and see the timing and scoring. But right now, Matt Grenier, your only cars in the position to get the lucky dog, so that is actually going to put only 9 cars on a lead lap, which just shows you one incident during a pit sequence and that could ruin everything for everybody.
Yeah, and that's the gamble you have to take when the green flag pit stops are cycling, is when to pit. You risk the possibility of this type of situation happening. and it has not worked out for some of the drivers that you said that were a lap down, but certainly for the drivers at the front end, especially Travis Miller and Nate Maurer, not really affecting them very much, but very good news for Daniel Worthington.
And speaking of what happened to cause the caution, we're talking about how Scott Fritz now stuck a lap down because of that. He's the person who caused the caution. So what ends up happening is he makes his pit stop. He comes out of pit road. That's been a trouble spot for a lot of drivers. It's this pit exit. So he comes out of there. He hit all the way down on the bottom exit in the pits. He hits the bumps on the very bottom of the apron, spins the tires, and now he's in the grass dirt tracking it, and now coming back up onto the racetrack, which is what caused their caution. He ends up actually almost parking it on the bottom lane, so right in the line where all the drivers are. So a very unfortunate incident for him. That's really going to ruin a lot of driver races. Scott Fritz is still, I believe he might be in Lucky Dog spot. He's under 13 cars in the lead lap, so I guess it really all depends on where the leader was picked up with the pace car, so that might have actually saved a lot of drivers. So right now, Scott Fritz, the first car lap down, Mitch Smith along with him, Dylan Davidson, Ed Osborne, Josh Miller, and then Chris Labougier. We talked about the person in the Texas area affected by the hurricanes going on. He has been running back there quietly, 7 laps down in the 19th position. So on back is Josh McKinney, Adam Lancaster, Josh Kinder, who has parked and called tonight, Corby Daniels along with him, Adam Broyles, Tanner Webb, and then Jason Collins, who I believe is actually I believe he is the race control, so he's actually isn't racing. So this is actually a 25 car field.
Yeah, and we're still waiting for timing and scoring to work out the leaders a little bit here, but it seems like mostly we're ready with that group. That timing and scoring's kind of gotten it back together. These cars in front of Worthington, in between him and the pace car, are going to get past the pace car at some point here, and then Worthington, Travis Miller's the leader now, actually. So Travis Miller will be the one that catches the pace car and stays behind it, as everybody in front of him is going to, at some point, get the wave around here. But so I don't know if you want to call it a late race caution per se. There's still 39 laps remaining in this one, but definitely has big implications on the entire field. And now it's going to be a question of what do you do about your strategy? Do you throw it out the window? Do you go in for a pit stop? Do you stay out? All depends on where your track position is right now.
And as you talked about, with the Travis Miller being the leader, any car in front of him will actually get the wave around. So now it just depends on what people like Ed Osborne in the 555. He is now the second car line. He might fall to the back to let these leaders take over this position he's in. Same for Scott Fritz. Scott Fritz, who is a lap down, who caused the caution, he's probably going to fall to the back and try and run with this lucky dog position that he has going. So a lot of incidents going to come on here, and that might stack the caution. We might running a few more laps than we will. We may or may not take a commercial break, trying to catch our breath as we wait for these drivers to filter themselves out and get more cycle through so that we can get ready to go. As we are now approaching the 20 minutes left mark, we have 39 laps left in the race, but still 20 minutes. So again, that whole Petit Le Mans factor that I talked about of whichever comes first, laps or times, is starting to really take effect now because of this caution and because of the lapped car scenario that is really affecting a lot of the drivers in this race.
Yeah, so as we're about to go to commercial break, like Noah said, it's going to be a big factor, and we'll see if the drivers can hold on and be patient when they come to the green flag on the restart, because that's certainly going to have a big effect. But we'll step aside for a minute, take a breath, because we're going to need it when we come back to green flag racing. You're here on PitStop TV, and we're going to cut back shortly for the restart of this race.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Alright, and welcome back here to Charlotte Motor Speedway. We are now at 1 to go here as on the lap cars. They're going to filter their way back out. Your field as they stand, Travis Miller cycled back into the race lead. On his outsider, you're going to find Nathan Maurer. The only person who's really been able to put up a fight, but now we have some new phases up here in the top 5 that we've been waiting to see all night. Daniel Worthington, the number 113, Jack Daniels' Apple car, the green Apple car, I should say. Lineup on his outside is going to be the 48 Jack Bauer. And then someone we haven't talked about, but is a big name driver in this series right now, is Justin Winters, the guy who's been battling the 22 car for the points lead. He actually currently is the points leader by 1 point. Now he's up there, so he's going to make his name known. And then Tyler Johnson now back up into the fight. Really lucky because of that caution. Now he is back in the hunt for this win, as now the pace car going to take the hard left turn back on the pit road as they get ready to enter the restart zone, as now all eyes on the number 22. Green flag is in the air, and we are back under racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway's Miller again going to get a rocket up the start on the lead, as now Maurer going to try and catch up as they sail off into turn number 1.
And yeah, like you said, a lot of big new names up at the front end of the field, and Justin Winters, especially for leading the championship, this is big news for him. He's really happy to be back up there. Tyler Johnson, who was running hard up to the beginning of, through the middle stages of this race, at least with the Valvoline Chevy, back in contention again, with only a handful of laps to go, and also depending on the time limit we have. But as they come past the line again, Travis Miller leads the way. Daniel Worthington in second. Winters in third, and then we've got Maurer, Johnson, and Bauer rounding out the top 6. Travis Miller's got a pretty solid lead over Worthington here, with Winters right behind him. We'll see if maybe the championship leader is going to try to dive down the inside of the number 1.
Yeah, we actually have a little bit of a discussion going on here on over race chat. A lot of the people in the back half of the field were asking if they could call off the start and redo it because of how bad it was. Because apparently the back half of the field got checked up, and it really messed them up. But still, we're going to stay green because, as the admin said, we are now under 20 minutes left, so they have to get this done here and now. We actually have about 15 minutes left, so the time really starting to run out. So this is really starting to become an endurance race. Just the winners that we talked about, the points that are coming into this race, now he finds himself in the third. He is starting to make his name known. He's going to try and run down. We were talking about maybe trying to make that long strategy work, and it's working out well because now he is in the top 3 spot, and now he is really starting to make his name known. Same with Daniel Worthington, and same with Tyler Johnson. All these drivers who have been really biding their time back there in the back half of the field, now starting to show their true muscle and really starting to show their cards late in the race and try and take over the race lead and surprise these guys and surprise us when we least suspected it.
Yeah, certainly. It's a very big surprise to see these guys up here competing. Travis Miller and Nick Maurer are moving on very strongly to the race lead. Tyler Johnson, his pit road mistake took him out of contention for a short period of time there. He's back in the race. Justin Winters didn't really show his strong suits early on, but his cards are on the table now. And Daniel Worthington got lucky, put himself in a good spot, but now he's going to be in a bad spot as he's going to get passed on the inside, or at least he's got a car to his inside. He holds his own pretty good, and that's actually going to get Nate Maurer in the picture now to run for third place on the outside of the unique car, the 971, the long run special car here on the outside with Tyler Johnson all over the back of these two cars. But the outside line's going to bite him in the butt this time. The number 971 falls back, and side by side with the number 6 car for fourth position.
But still out front is still Travis Miller, who has seen these guys fight and says keep doing it because he wants to try and run away. That is really holding up the only person that has been a problem for him all night, Nathan Maurer. But now we have to look at The 113, he's all over the back bumper. He's going to try to take a peek on the outside, which we haven't seen. Now the 88 is going to try to take a peek on the outside. That's going to allow the 6 to get on his inside. And now they're going to go side by side off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway for the 3rd position. So Tyler Johnson starting to show his colors again in that red, white, and blue Chevrolet. He's on the inside. They go side by side. He's going to clear him. And so is the 113. So you talk about your little PA posse going up there in the top half. You know, he's going to take over race lead. Tyler Johnson's going to move into 2nd. So now the people who we haven't seen all night since the cautions are now starting to crawl the way back up, and now the points I talked about with the 1-2 and the points, they're now 3rd and 4th, and now they're fighting each other. So all hell is breaking loose here in the final few minutes of this race as everyone's trying to take this win.
Indeed, and Daniel Worthington, he definitely put it down there, as now it's Tyler Johnson's turn to see if he can get around that green and black number 113, and he's going to try to do so, and it looks like out of turn number 4, he's going to get a nose over the 113 to the stripe. They are side-by-side racing hard as they come past again. Tyler Johnson now into the lead, put the number 6 car back in front, the number 22 all over the tail end of the 113 with the 88 right behind him. Tyler Johnson leading the way. He's got clean air, but Daniel Worthington not out of the picture at all, and he's in fact right on the tail end of the number 6 car's bumper. He's holding on pretty strong. He's got a pretty consistent car too. It seemed like even when he was behind Travis Miller, he could hold on pretty good, and it seems at this moment like he's doing okay with the number 6 car, Tyler Johnson, who's now going to continue to try to build a gap, and we're just still waiting to see when that 971 car comes in, when the long run of the abilities of that car start to play a bigger factor for these 5 guys who are now racing for the lead as the clock winds down. Travis Miller on the outside with Winters on his inside, and now he gaps him a little bit. 971 and the 88 still side by side. Justin Winters on the inside, looking down the inside of the 22 car once more, and they come past the stripe. But what they've done, you can see these 3 cars have lost the tail of the number 115 car. Tyler Johnson and Daniel Worthington have gapped them as the side-by-side action behind them has benefited them greatly. But the 113 fell back a little bit off the tail of the number 6 car, so maybe, just maybe, Tyler Johnson showing what he's got left in the Valvoline Chevrolet.
Yeah, you talk about Justin Winters and Travis Miller. Those two have been, not only is this a fight for a top 5 position, this is a fight for the points lead, as we've been talking about throughout the entire race. We have not seen Miller. He's been very quiet running those long strategies, and now he finds himself up there. So he is now starting to pull up everything he has within that car, because now not only are they fighting just for a good finishing position and possible win, but they're fighting to see who's going to take over who in the points lead. But then you talk about up there in the top 3. All 3 of those drivers are people who haven't win. Well, actually, the top 2, I should say. Tyler Johnson, someone who has a win. Daniel Worthington, someone who has a win. Nathan Maurer, someone who would love to get a win in his 2nd start. Jack Bauer, David Brackett, Nicholas Nagel, Wyatt Brackett, and Matt Grenier, all drivers who have not had a win this season, and now there's a lot of good chances for them to do it. But still, right now, it's just between Tyler Johnson and Daniel Worthington. Unless those 2 get in a fight again and allow the Winters to get up, which is the last thing they want to see, because if they do that, that's going to open up the door for those 2 who have been such powerhouses in this league to be able to run up there and take back the race lead and possibly get themselves to be the first person to be able to repeat winner and take off with the points lead.
Yes, but certainly don't forget who is in their first start in the Bluegrass iRacing Series. It is the number 6 Valvoline Chevrolet that is leading the way over Daniel Worthington right now. It is his first start in the series. What a show it would be if he could pull off his win in his maiden start. The number 6 Valvoline car still holding on to a somewhat solid lead over the 113. But don't forget, the wrench that could come in and screw everything up for these drivers is that if we get a late race yellow, especially with the time limit, it could end it, and it could put Tyler Johnson in victory lane automatically, or it could shake things up big time for the guys up front here. So certainly as the clock winds to the end of its life, Daniel Worthington looks like he's got a little bit of a run down the backstretch, but Tyler Johnson's liking what he's seeing right now out of his windshield and out of his mirror.
Absolutely, those 2 are on a dogfight right now, trying to take over this race lead. 6 car, he has been really strong throughout most of the race, really starting to pull it back in. And I want to give a quick update. We talked about Chris we haven't talked, he hasn't said his name in a while, Chris Laborgier, I believe it is, he has fell out, so I guess I'm going to try and figure out if the hurricane has made landfall or not, which is a really bad thing if it has. So obviously, if that is the case, Godspeed to him. Obviously, we've been not too updated on what's going on outside the virtual world of iRacing, so we haven't really been able to keep in touch. But still, if that is the case, that the hurricane has made landfall, Godspeed to him. We wish him the best, and hopefully we see more of him throughout the season. But still, the 6 car of Tyler Johnson with the race lead, the 113 of Daniel Worthington right on his back bumper. Those two are now inseparable. So it's been a 2-car fight throughout most of the race, but now it has changed up at the front as now that 113 Jack Daniels Green Apple car and that 6 Babbling car. Now here's a 73 car who is a lap down. Dylan Davidson, he's actually 2 laps down. He's actually going to hold up the leaders. That's going to allow Justin Winters to catch up, which is the last thing either of those two want right now as we approach less than 20 to go.
Yeah, certainly Winters is really liking that. He wants to catch up to these two. He knows that he's got to make that time up now. It is crunch time. And we have a yellow flag. That's not what we wanted to see. And we're going to see what happened here. Yellow flag, late race. Oh, no.
The exact opposite of what any of these guys wanted to see, because now we're not. It's obvious. Unless something good, amazing happens and they pull out some like lap records, we're almost under 5 minutes. So this could end under caution, depending how long this caution is. Unless there is a quick caution, which is only really available, I believe, on 2 mile or more. So this is the exact opposite of what any of these guys wanted to see, because that might have just handed Tyler Johnson his first win, depending how long this caution is. And the caution is at the hands of Jack Bauer. So this is a really bad incident to happen to them as he was battling. It was Nicholas Nagel coming to the corners. Oh my goodness, a heavy hit for those two. And it's going to take the 38 ball with him. You can look at the back at the beginning of lap 181. This is a very hard exit. It took a lot of heavy hitter drivers. As you see the replay down the whole straightaway, so you're going to see the whole lap here, maybe. But man, that was such a rough way to end, because there's a lot of top 5 drivers that have got taken out. As now, because of this, that's going to allow a lot of drivers now to take over into the pit stops and get fresh tires. As now we might end up with a 1-lap dash to take over the lead. As now Tyler Johnson, Daniel Worthington, Justin Winters, Travis Miller, Wes Weisland, a lot of drivers, Joshua Abbey. All these drivers now going to make their pit stops and try and get those fresh tires and go out there and have the tires to go out there and run for the race lead and take this win away. Actually, we have a little bit of strategy playing out, because guess what? Nathan Maurer stays out, so he's going to inherit the race lead. Wyatt Brackett, who was the last car to lead lap because of that caution, he's going to boost himself up in a second, which will drop Tyler Johnson now down to 3rd. Daniel Worthington will fall back to 4th. Justin Winters, presumably, will fall back to 5th. Travis Miller in 6th. Wes Weisland actually comes out of the pits. He's still in 6th. So a lot of strategy now being played out, which could really affect this race here. It's going to be very interesting to see what we can see out of these guys. Also, because including the lap cars in here, unless the admin decides to put them back. As now we've officially hit the 2-hour mark. We are now under 5 minutes. So actually, this might just be one on the pit stop because of that one move. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the pace car decides to do here.
Yeah, so certainly Tyler Johnson staying on the point. He did not come into pit lane. That might have been the way to go, only with 5 minutes left. We know that we've had some long yellows so far. A lot of these guys, though, they're probably figuring out pretty well what they want to do here. But with 5 minutes to go, I don't know if that was the right call, Noah. I don't know if I would have come into pit lane. I'm concerned about getting back to green flag racing.
Well, if we do in fact go back racing, which I believe is going to happen, we have 5 minutes left, and I presume that we're going to. I'm gonna say what I said. Assume that we would in fact maybe get like 2 or 3 more laps in, but still we are now down to the final minutes, and that's how close this is. So depending on how long this full course yellow takes, it's going to be very interesting to see what they in fact choose to do, because now. It's going to show Nathan Maurer. Actually, he's not in the race lead. I'm not sure what's going on now, because it actually shows him back in the 9th spot, so he might have actually been a lap down, so it actually causes more confusion for me here, because I'm confused with what's going on with these leaders.
Yeah, we're not quite sure. Well, definitely we're going to get timing and scoring figured out over here, but with less than 5 minutes to go, certainly we want to get the race back underway. We want this race to be at least under green flag, or at least give the attempt at a green flag run to the finish here to these drivers. Tyler Johnson, Daniel Worthington, Justin Winters, Travis Miller, and Wes Wiegand now for the top 5 here. And Wes has actually broken into the top 5. Pretty surprising. We haven't seen him up front. We also have Joshua Abbey up there in 6th position. He started at the tail end of the field. Very good to see him come up through. Brian Terry into 7th position. Haven't talked much about him. And then the number 971 in 8th place, Nate Maurer. Wyatt Brackett in 9th. Grenier sitting in 10th place as the clock just continues to wind down. Everybody in this field, except for one driver, is really pulling for the lights to go out on that Ford Mustang pace car. That person being Tyler Johnson, hoping for a finish under yellow because he does not need the pressure and threat of all of these hungry drivers behind him trying to take the victory from him when they get the green flag, if they do get the green flag.
So here, well, hold up, before we go into an Addy here. Here is something interesting to point out because I figured this out after going back and looking at this. So the situation that we have right now, the 971 of Nathan Maurer, the 33 of Wyatt Brackett, and the 15 of Matt Grenier, they actually were a lap down of this caution. They had pitted, trying to create an undercut to try and make a strategy happen and pull out there, not expecting this to happen. So they're actually stuck a lap down. So they're currently on the lead lap going for the wave around if we do in fact get that. So right now that really ruined their race. So Tyler Johnson, as we in fact is the race leader. But as we wait for hopefully the lights to go out here to get this mad dash done with, and you can see who's going to get the win here. Let's quickly go one more time and read through these ads one more time, get to pay the bills one more time, get some more money out of this. Alright, so starting off, we got BRP iRacing Series. The BRP iRacing Series is a series run and owned by Northeastern Big Block modified drivers, crew guides, and fans. If you're looking to get into dirt racing or already are, this league is for you. BRP is a fixed setup league that runs 360 wing sprint cars and pro late models. The BRP iRacing Series will be adding the Big Block modifieds to their series lineup upon their release on the iRacing.com service. You can find BRP on their Facebook page, the BRP iRacing Series.
This race also brought to you by having a little bit of technical difficulty. This race also brought to you by Tucson Sound Art. Your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and they will create for you a beautifully framed, high-quality, custom canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker featuring Sound Art technology. You get the best of both worlds with this product. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional info.
And we'll have to read off the rest of them and do another one after this race is over because the lights are off on the pace car. And we're at we're going to be very close. You have to depend how fast the pace car goes because guess what? It is 2 hours and 50 minutes. So we might actually have a 50-yard dash to the start-finish line depending on how the iRacing system decides to go about this, because we have officially reached 2 hours and 50 minutes. So it depends on what Tyler Johnson does and how the game scores this. So here we go. It's going to be very interesting to see who wins the race. Pace car off and away one more time. For the last time here tonight, Tyler Johnson, your race leader. Green flag is in the air, and we are back underway here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're going to come across the line, still racing as they come down into turn number 1. Tyler Johnson, your race leader. Daniel Worthington in second, and now Travis Miller is going to push him into turn number 1 to try and get that 113 car ahead of the 88.
So down the back stretch, the 88 and the 113 there side by side. The 22 car now gets up to the 113. And on the outside, he's stuck up there as the 88, now gaining on the number 6 car, and it's turned around drastically for the number 88. He was looking at a tough day for the points earlier on. Travis Miller pushing the number 88 now as the 6 still leads, but it's Winter right behind him with Miller in his draft, and Worthington now slides in single file. The 6 car still leading the way out of turn number 2.
down the backstretch they go. Justin Winters, your points leader, all over the back bumper of that 6 car, down into turn number 3. It is a first-time start, a rookie in the series. All of them are rookies in reality, but this is his first start. He's holding off the 2 front runners in the points as they come across the stripe to complete lap 189. And they're going to try to run this thing out. We are past the time of laps, so they're going to try and run this thing out. So the game says no, we're kicking you out. Matt Grenier now with the fastest lap of the race with a 28.8, and here comes the 88, going to give a bump to the 6 car out of the back straightaway, trying to get himself ahead of the 22. As now the caution is out yet again, and that might have just done it depending on what iRacing decides to do. Tyler Johnson is still holding on to the race lead. I think Travis Miller might have taken over second spot because of that.
We still see Miller. Nope, now we don't see Miller in. Yeah, we see Winters now in second, so timing and scoring resets here, and the yellow has returned to the racing surface. We'll have to check out what happened, but Tyler Johnson, pretty happy to see that yellow flag come back out now. He got a heck of a lot of pressure from both of the 88 and the 22 after that restart, so he gets to catch his breath because he definitely had to fight to keep hold of the lead spot on that one.
And the caution does come out because of the 971 of Nathan Maurer. So here is the story on what caused this incident. So obviously because of the caution, he was stuck back about a lap down. Coming across the line, coming into turn number 1, the 43 car dives down under the 28, actually hits the apron, and that forces, he got neck coated by the 43. He comes back up, and that's going to spin the 971, and here they go. Now he's going to take out the 55. They're going to go spinning on the straightaway. Oh, a close call for another driver who almost hit him. So, yeah, a very bad accident down the back straightaway involving some of the back markers, including some of the lap cars, and that's going to take out the 971, who is obviously not a happy camper because of how that caution played out.
Yeah, certainly that was not what he needed, and with so little time left in the event, that's just a really tough break for them. So the question now remains, as I have no clock on me officially, so I do not know exact numbers, but this is going to be really, really tight to see if we go back to racing again, Noah.
Absolutely, as now we approach the 10 to go mark. I don't know how much longer we have until the game decides to call it a night. It's very interesting to see because we are at the 10 to go mark. We might actually get all the laps in, which would be very interesting to see. We're at 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 40 seconds. So we're way past the elapsed time, but right now still, and there it is. They are calling it the last lap. So that will be our race here tonight. As now, Tyler Johnson just needs to take it to turns 3 and 4. He will take the checkered flag and take his first win in his first start.
Yeah, Tyler Johnson, he will get this one coming to the line under yellow, but he certainly earned it both throughout the race and throughout that last restart. He had his own mistake. He made a mistake coming through the pit lane. He got his penalty. He had to serve his penalty. He had to fight back, and we saw him fighting hard throughout the race to try to get that lucky dog position, to try to get back on the lead lap. He not only got that much, but he got into good position with some luck on a caution, and he got there to the end of the line. He pushed hard. He held on. The number 6 Valvoline Chevy, Tyler Johnson, wins his maiden event and gets his first win in the Bluegrass iRacing Series.
And what a comeback story for that 6 car, and that's going to make it 4 races, 4 different winners. So we're going to have to see how that really shakes up the point standings now. Second place is going to be Justin Winters, who came in here with the points lead, a really good comeback for him. Travis Miller, who had dominated his entire race, now falls back and he has to settle for 3rd. Daniel Worthington, who made a really good comeback, he finds himself. He'll take over the 4th position in that Jack Daniels Green Apples Ford. 5th is where you're going to find Joshua Abbey, who started all the way at the tail end of the field. He fights his way back up for 5th place. Another couple group of drivers who started in the back and crawled their way up. Wes Wiesgen in the 188, he's going to round out 6th. 7th, after starting 21st, is where Brian Terry in the 13 car is going to finish. Matt Grenier, who was caught out because of that caution with the lap down, he's going to finish in 8th. 9th place is where you're going to find the 33 of Wyatt Brackett, and then rounding out your top 10 here tonight is going to be Nathan Maurer, who has to settle for that after having such a strong run and being taken out of the race due to a late race caution. But still, do the victors go to the spoil? It's going to be Tyler Johnson taking the race win here, as it looks like they have to do one more lap. So here he comes. Down the straightaway for the final time, yes indeed. The checker flag is going to wave, and in his first ever start here in the Bluegrass iRacing Series, that 6 Valvoline Chevy Throwback is going to take the win. Tyler Johnson wins the Charlotte 300 at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
What an excellent performance. Like I said, he had to overcome, he had to be adverse, he had to keep his head on his shoulders when he had that mid-race penalty on the pit lane. He definitely had to fight back for it, and we saw that he had a tough competition ahead of him with lapped cars in position for Lucky Dogs when he needed it most. He stayed in the game, he kept his head on his shoulders, he kept cool. He knew that he had time to get this one back. He got a little bit of luck. He used it to his advantage, and he came out on top with a bit of aggression and a lot of blocking. To the end of this one, he's going to bring it down and burn down the house, rightfully so. The number 6 Valvoline car gets his first victory in the series, and what an excellent one it was.
And you gotta feel the emotions are running high after ruining it because of that pit stop mistake that cost him, that had to make him do that stop and hold. Like he said on the radio, he is a very lucky man because of that caution that came out that gave him his lap back and put him back in the fight, and he took every opportunity he can, and now he gets to take the win in NASCAR's backyard. He's gonna burn it down for as long as that engine can hold, as he is not letting off. He's going to enjoy every moment of this and knowing how hard it is to win in a league like this.
Yeah, you know he's going to want to celebrate this one for a while. That was a story for the books. That was a great performance. Just a good race for Tyler Johnson. He kept it on, and that's something to keep with you in your regular life outside of even racing, is just to never back down from something. You know you have to be motivated to be successful, both in racing and in the real world. It's just a great story and good to see. Also, a pretty solid result for Justin Winters, I would say. He came out of nowhere at the end and held on for second place, Noah.
Absolutely. And with that being said, we will take a quick commercial break, gather up all our drivers here, and get our post-race interviews as we get ready to close out an amazing night of racing live from Charlotte Motor Speedway. We didn't exactly get all the laps in, but we got the show we were waiting for. Stay tuned and we'll get you our post-race interviews and sign off here from Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it is that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Well, welcome back, race fans, here to PitStop TV. After concluding our live coverage, just short of the 300 miles here at Charlotte, but still a thrilling conclusion to an amazing almost 200 lap event. And with that, we're going to drag in our race winner, hopefully. Tyler Johnson, it's Noah Carmichael up here in the PitStop TV booth. Do you have a copy?
I got you loud and clear.
Well, man, you've probably had the night to remember what we believe to be your first start. Everything you could have hoped for to happen did happen. You run up there with the leaders, you get caught up without pit mistake, and then fight your way back, get lucky with a caution, and then end up with the race win. How does it feel to get a win here in the Bluegrass iRacing Series in one of your first starts with this league?
Honestly, it feels pretty good. I know Travis, he was probably going to win that one. He was definitely better than me on the short run. That's kind of what we were going to have at the end. But yeah, I don't know. The time really helped me out, I guess.
Well, like we talked about, you had that little pin incident that ended up costing you a lap. Did you think it was over then and there, or were you kind of hoping to get stuck with a lucky dog or any lucky sort of situation to put you back in this, or did you think this is all over at this point?
Honestly, I was trying to calculate fuel so I could try to, I would stay off the throttle a lot and try to, push the green flag run as long as I could, and it just didn't seem to really work, and I thought it was done after the first round of pit stops, and then all of a sudden I stay out. I barely have enough fuel to make it back to pit road. I get my lap back. I'm in fifth or whatever, and then I have fresh tires compared to everyone else, and I take the lead, and I was so happy.
Well, like we talked about, this ended up becoming kind of petite Le Mans rules, and what that means is it's either it goes to a certain amount of laps or a certain amount of time, which in your case, it ended up being a certain amount of time. What was the reaction you had when you came past that 2-hour, 5-minute mark and realizing that you guys were still going after all of that?
Well, yeah, like I said, I was paying attention to the time too, when I was in the lead, and then we got that last caution, and I knew the race was kind of over then. And I was thankful because I knew Travis, he was going to get past me in the next lap or two because he was so fast. And that caution came out, and I knew I won it right there, and I was happy as heck.
Well, it's always great to hear. Before I let you go here to celebrate the rest of your night as a Bluegrass iRacing winner, do you have anybody you want to thank here for your incredible comeback run to take home this win here tonight?
I just want to thank you guys for hosting this. I want to shout out to my friend Dylan Clank. I want to say thank you to pretty much everyone for setting this up. It was really fun, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Well, we're glad to have you along, and hopefully we get to see more of you next week and throughout the rest of the season. Congrats on the win, and good luck next week wherever we may go. I believe it's Pocono we're going at, so if we see you there, hopefully you get to hear more of you. But regardless, congratulations, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Alright, so that is our race winner, Tyler Johnson. Next up, we're going to drag in Mr. Just the Winners, and for that, I will hand it over to Mr. Joe Donahue.
Right on PitStop TV, Justin Winners. This is Joe. Do you have a copy on me here?
I do. Go ahead.
My sir, you had a little bit of a tough start for your evening here, but you came back, you were adverse, and you pulled off an amazing second place finish. How did you hang on to get to the end of this race and get to that second place finish? It seemed like it was an uphill battle at the start.
Oh, but I just rode the back, saved my equipment. Actually, had an extra set of tires for the end of the race. So if we had a late race caution, I would have been one of the select few to have a set of tires left. So my strategy was on point, but I just wanted to stay out of the chaos because there seemed to be a lot of tight racing. I wanted to save my equipment and then come up near the about halfway mark, which I was able to, and we got a good finish after all, so it all worked out.
Right, and so let's talk about the end of the race there. So you're sitting in the top 5, and you keep seeing these yellows, and you're watching the clock run down. Tell us about what you're thinking with all of these yellows at the end of the race, especially that second to last one where it started getting close. What were you thinking behind the wheel of your car when you saw that tick down?
Oh, it's like thinking rain's coming. Everything picks up, the aggressiveness picks up. It got really, really close racing with Travis and the 6. And it just everything picks up, just like thinking about the real cars when rain's coming. Everything picks up. You want to be at the lead when that last caution comes out because you know when the timer goes, that's the end of the race.
Right on, and so to speak on Travis as well, because you were able to secure a few more points, you were able to hold on to the championship lead. How do you feel about keeping hold of that, and what do you think moving forward of your battle with Travis here at the top of the leaderboard?
Travis is great car driver, great competitor. He's very competitive. I've enjoyed racing with him with our first 4 or 5 races. I look forward to racing with him for the rest of the year. I'm sure it's going to be me and him up front, maybe each and every week, which would be good for both of us. We'll make it exciting, I believe, and we still got some dark horses I think can make a run at this championship. But for the most part, me and Travis, I like racing Travis. He's an awesome competitor. I think we bring the best out in each other.
I would agree with that, sir. And I want to congratulate you for your excellent performance tonight. And I want to give you one last chance. Who do you want to thank for the effort that you've got and the results that you've got for tonight's race?
I want to thank Al's Body Shop for being on the car. I want to thank Boots Manufacturing. I want to thank Bluegrass iRacing Series for putting this on. And shout out to my Uncle Alan. This race was dedicated to him, and probably the rest of the year will be dedicated to him because he's the body shop that's on the car. So.
Well, awesome stuff, Justin. Thank you very much for this excellent performance. Congratulations. We're very impressed up here. Good job tonight.
Thank you, sir. You guys have a good night, and thanks for the broadcast.
Awesome stuff. And we'll send it back over to Noah here as we'll try to get Travis Miller in here, and we'll get a couple more questions out of the final step of the podium here.
Well, Travis Miller, it's Noah Carmichael again up in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, man, you dominated most of the race here tonight. You seem like the heavy favorite outside of the 971. You just were able to hold on to it up here until the very end. What was it like in these final closing laps to run with these guys, seeing now what the true colors really were of these people who are just biding their time saving for the most of the race?
Yeah, it's really fun racing with these guys. They all race clean up front, and they're all really fast, and we all kind of run our own different race, and some are good in the short run, some are good in the long run, and it didn't play out for us tonight, I guess. It's just the way it is.
Well, still, you pulled off an amazing run throughout most of the race, and even still fighting back for that third place finish. Just you talk about how fun it is, just kind of what is it like trying to run around this racetrack, especially in these restarts, because you were just a rocket on every single restart that you were in the lead with. You were about a car length or two away, and it kind of seemed like for most of that run, on every pit stop, you're trying to because we talked about in the last interview that you realized that Nathan Maurer had the long run strategy to beat you, but on the short run strategy, you were able to gap him. What kind of was the strategy you had going on to try and outrun him throughout most of the race?
Honestly, me and my spotter, Pat, I can't thank him enough for tonight. He made some good calls, and we were just thinking like maybe we save a set of tires and hope for a green white checkered and we'd be able to win her. But we had a great short run car for sure. Our long run speed was a little not there, I guess. It's I don't know. We just coming to the end of the race. I made a couple decisions just to kind of change up the strategy a little bit, and then with the server timing out another time, it really screwed it up, and then the caution at the end there just didn't help us out, and we just ended up coming over the third. It stings, but there's always next week and a lot of races left in the year.
Absolutely, and we always talked about throughout most of the night your title fight with Justin Winters. I know you didn't really have much thought of it, but now with the race being over and Justin, in fact, finishing up on the second spot, one position ahead of you, has that thought process come into mind of the title fight that you have coming in as we approach the halfway point of the season and onwards of what you need to do to try and beat Winters? Because, in all honesty, none of us really expected him to run up, to charge his way up there and running up there in the end. We thought it was a runaway and you're going to gap him in the points. So is that kind of settled in on what you need to do to try and beat him in the points?
Yeah, I mean, he told me that he was saving our race. That's why he wasn't up there, and I was kind of thinking about doing that same strategy, but I just didn't want to give up the track position. And I mean, I would really like to be going into next week with about like a 5-point buffer, but I think after all the points layout, we're going to be still 1 point behind. So it's going to be a dogfight all year for sure. And I love racing with him. He's really fast and he's really clean, and hopefully we can have a good stretch till the end of the year there.
All right, and just before I let you go here one more time tonight, I want to give you one more chance to thank anybody you have for your incredible third place run here tonight. Do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I just got to give a shout out to Gaston's Auto Sales, the BRPI Racing Series for all they do for me, Precision Auto Clinic, Bicknell Racing Products, Splash and Go Graphics, MDR Designs, my girlfriend for letting me do this all the time, and I guess for you guys for putting this on, and the league for running, because without them we wouldn't be able to do it, and hopefully there's no issues going further.
Well, all right. Hopefully, we get to see more of you out of Pocono next week as we head up to the. I'm trying to remember exactly where it is. Allentown, out in Allentown, Pennsylvania. That's going to be very interesting to see. Hopefully, we get to see more of the muscles that you showed out there most of the season play out there and keep this title fight going.
Yeah, for sure, guys. Thanks for having me in here. Have a good one.
You too. Congrats.
Thanks.
And with that, that'll wrap our post-race coverage here. But before we go away one last time tonight, we need to give a shout out to more. Once again, there are great partners here on PitStop TV who do so much for us to allow us the opportunity to do this. So one more time, let's read through this. First off, we got the BRP iRacing Series. The BRP iRacing Series is a series run and owned by Northeastern Big Block Modified drivers, crew guys, and fans. If you're looking to get into dirt racing or already are, this league is for you. BRP is a fixed setup league that runs 360 wing sprint cars and pro late models. The BRP iRacing Series will be adding the Big Block Modifieds to this series lineup upon the release on the iRacing.com service. You can find BRP on their Facebook, the BRP iRacing Series.
We also want to thank Tucson Sound Art. Your picture, your music, you provide the image that you want to have created into a beautifully framed, high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. Tucson Sound Art will bring it to you. You get the best of both worlds with this product. Be sure to tune in to TucsonSoundArt.com for additional info on picking one up for yourself today.
Next up, we have permanent makeup in Cryo in Maine. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care money can buy. Here at Permanent Makeup in Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Bollier, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. If you're looking for the best solutions for your PMU concerns, give us a call today to book a consultation. You can contact us at permanentmakeupinmaine.com or call/text us at 207-358-8683. And if you visit our Facebook page, Permanent Makeup in Cryo Maine, you will see that we do monthly giveaways. If you submit your entry, who knows? You just might win. Which is so obviously, yeah. Go out there and give them some love and go enter into their monthly giveaways, because like I said early on the broadcast, you never know. Despite the fact you might not know who these people are, you might end up loving their product, and what a better way to do it than win one of their giveaways and try that out for free.
Absolutely agree with that. And to the final sponsor of this broadcast is, of course, our very own Whiplash Media, PitStop TV's new parent organization, Whiplash Media, specializing in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and much more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real-world racing, offering services such as photography, social media management, and public relations to real-world drivers. Go to www.whiplash-media.com for more information on how you can pick up some of these awesome products for yourself.
And with that, before we close it out here for an amazing race, just, guess some closing thoughts. Just an absolute thriller from start to finish. We thought it was ending up between the 971 Nathan Maurer and the 22 Travis Miller, but it ends up becoming a first-time winner in the league in his first start out of Tyler Johnson. Just an absolutely incredible night, top to bottom, and ended up being in a dramatic-filled last lap dash to the last minute dash to finish under caution that gave him his win. Just absolutely incredible thought. Do you have any thoughts you want to give on it?
This has just been an awesome experience. This has just been a really cool race. It fanned out really interesting. Tyler Johnson pulling together an excellent performance. It was just an awesome event to take part in. Awesome to be here. My first time here on PitStop TV, and what a show it was for everybody watching. Congratulations to Tyler. Congratulations to Justin. Congratulations to Travis, congratulations to everybody who managed to get through the race. And thank you, Noah, for bringing me in for this one. I thoroughly appreciate it. Thank you to Andrew as well for letting me pop on in and get my feet under me for this broadcast. It was fun, and I really enjoyed watching this one. It was a good race to be a part of.
Absolutely. It's always great to be a part of this, but also I want to make sure that we get Trey Shuttlesworth if he's still here. He was in here for a minute giving us a little bit of race analysis, but he was on our social media giving us the incredible shots that he usually does here for all our events. Trey, if you're still here, do you have any closing comments for how this race fanned out tonight?
I thought it was a little unfortunate that we didn't get to see 200 laps tonight, but I just think it introduced another variable to the mix. And, sometimes it's fun to spice up the show, very simply. The Cup package, with its low horsepower and high downforce, produced a pretty tight and competitive racing product for most of the evening. And, overall, I thought it was pretty entertaining. We saw some guys that were really strong in the long run, but overall, short run ended up prevailing. So it was unpredictable and pretty fun.
Couldn't describe it better myself. All right, well, with that being done, that will conclude our coverage tonight of the Bluegrass iRacing Series Charlotte 300. We at PitStop TV thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Be sure to join us next Tuesday as the Operation E Motorsports iRacing League travels to historic Road Atlanta and Braselton, Georgia. And be sure to watch again Wednesday night for Round 5 of the Bluegrass iRacing Series as they make their stop at the tricky triangle known as Pocono Raceway. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/PitStopTV. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at PitStopTV_ and on Twitch at twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV. And you can also subscribe to us on YouTube by searching PitStop TV. This has been Joe Donahue alongside me on the mic, Trey Shuttlesworth on social media, and Jake Paticki on production. And I'm Noah Carmichael, and for PitStop TV, we'll see you again next time, and have a wonderful night.